We're recording to server.
Get the fuck out of here, server.
We're playing music that no one's heard.
This shit is Die Antwoord's D Antwoord's original band.
Max Normal.
I'm a big fan of this shit.
Take this baby to the maximum.
But we won't be able to keep up.
A tough cookie. I've got a job to do. Eat my dust rookie. I'm primed for mass appeal. Enhance my force field. Now catch my feel. 72,000 nerves of steel. Start tingling as the real deal gets revealed. Bring on the glory. Decipher these mystery hooks. Who kids be reading about our story and their history.
Whoops.
What happened? Whoops. Well, let's just say that's a fucking South African band. It's D Antwoord now, but they were a bunch of different things before they were D Antwoord. And I've been obsessed with them for the last couple of weeks, man. They're fucking awesome. Every now and then you catch a band that's the shit. Speaking of the shit, Freddy Lockhart, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Old school comedy road dog.
Yeah, what up, Joe?
My friend from many moons ago.
True that.
Back when Freddie was actually working at the Comedy Store. Freddie started out the right way, like so many Comedy Store warriors have done, working there, you know, either doing the door or, you know, working the cover booth. And, you know, that's one of the cool things about the Comedy Store is that almost everybody working there wants to be a comic. Almost everybody working there wants to make it in show business. There's a lot of people that are great people that work in other clubs, but they're not there because they want to be comedians. The Comedy Store is entirely comprised as people who want to be comedians.
Even the accountants, everybody.
It's ridiculous. Unfortunately, except for the fucking managers, and that's why the place sucks a bag of dicks.
Ooh.
Oh,
Hey.
oh. One of the all-time classic comedy clubs, but you know,
CBGB's of comedy.
it's not run by Mitzi Shore anymore, unfortunately.
No.
But it's still a great fucking place, and that's where I met Freddy Lockhart back in the Disney.
Fleshlight.
Fleshlight is our sponsor. We have to let everybody know about that. You can go to joerogan.net and buy it, and if you click the link and enter in the code name Rogan, you get 15% off. That's what it is, right?
Show them the
right
alien
next to you.
fleshlight. See that?
Oh,
blue?
where is it?
Right there.
This one.
Oh,
yeah, this is the alien one. It's blue and it's got two clits.
Nice.
Put your finger in and
If
touch
you're
it.
a Star Trek freak,
If
nobody's
it-
fucked this.
okay.
I wouldn't do that. Yeah.
Except me.
I've always wondered. I was like, what does it got to feel like? That's pretty good.
What do you think?
It's pretty interesting feeling,
It is
right?
interesting.
It definitely feels better than, well, probably my rough hands.
Yeah.
You just
That's
warm
what I was
that
thinking.
up.
There's
My
no
manly
blisters
hands.
on it, no scratching.
Just warm it up a little. In the
I'll
sun.
be in Austin, Texas this weekend, all weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at Cap City Comedy Club. And Joey Coco Diaz will be with me. It's a rare treat. We get to bring Joey on the road. The thing about Joey is Joey's the best. He's my favorite comedian ever of all time. But he's about as reliable as a fucking a fake Rolex. You know what I mean? You know, just like you just can't count on him. I started taking people with me. I only used to bring one opener for the longest time.
Right.
But Joey flaked so many times that I started taking a second opener with me just so that I could still book Joey.
Yeah, an
so if the
understudy.
shit hit the fan, it only hit the fan like 1 out of every 20 times. But it hit the fan every now and then, and you'd be in Jersey going, "Where the fuck are you?" "I'm not gonna lie to you, dog. I never left Vegas." Like,
Well, that's
fuck!
the excuse is always admirable and entertaining at best, too.
If you get an excuse,
Yeah, if
you
you
might
get
just
one.
not get phone calls back.
For
What do you
like a
want?
week.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
like months. What, dog? And then once you do talk to him, it never gets brought up. "What up, dog?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah, nothing
What's up, cocklicker?"
I don't want to go back to those days of my life.
Yeah, so he's going. We had a scare today. I thought he wasn't going to go. 'Cause you never know with Joey. Anything could happen.
That's
He's always
true.
got, "I got something going on, dog. It's a Disney Channel movie. I think it's going to be big. I get to show my balls. They're going to blur it out."
Have you seen the previews of his Disney movie? It's
No,
called,
what
like,
is it called?
It's called like The Dog That Saved Christmas, and they've released like they're releasing like a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
And the first one, Joey was like 400 pounds or whatever. How big
Oh,
he
yeah,
was.
and then he lost a
Then
lot
he
of
lost
weight.
a lot of weight,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
now they were like really concerned. But anyways, I just saw the preview. I think it's just about to come on DVD. I saw the preview, and Joey Diaz has a little scene in there where he's in drag, and it's the cutest thing you'll ever see.
What the fuck would they care if he loses 100 pounds? He looks better. He looks like he's healthy.
Yeah,
Just write it into the goddamn script.
That's what they ended up doing.
How hard is that?
They,
That's not
they
hard.
wrote in the whole Weight
Yeah.
Watcher thing.
Is he keeping it off? He's still keeping the weight on?
Yeah.
What, does he
kept
eat
it
right
off
or
total.
something?
Yeah, he does Weight Watchers. He follows
good
his
for
points.
him.
"I got points, cocksucker." He'll explain it to you with anger in his voice.
Oh, that's great. Good for him.
Yeah, he's like, a fucking slice of pizza and a Coke. That's 8 points. You can't take 8 points, cocksucker. You deserve to be fat. He'll get fucking angry. He like gets very passionate about his Weight Watchers.
But yet, when I go out to eat, he'll be like, all right, this is only 4 Weight Watcher points. And I'm like, dude, that's nachos with salmon, fried salmon Snickers.
How many points is that?
Oh, it's like, 80 points. And that's like your whole...
Is that supposed to be your whole day?
So what did he lose? He lost 100 pounds.
Lost 100 fucking pounds.
That's pretty fucking
yeah,
impressive.
he put it together, man.
Especially not doing the lap band or the gastric bypass.
Yeah,
like it's the old school way.
He got really upset about that too. We would talk about it. He goes, "I'm not gonna do it, dog. I'm not gonna do it." He got like real passionate about it. He goes, "Ralphie Mays had that fucking thing. He blew it out twice."
Yeah,
he said surgeries. I'm not gonna get cut open, bro.
Right.
I'm not gonna get fucking cut open.
Right.
He manned up. He manned up and he fucking lost the weight. It's incredible.
Well, the thing with those things too, it's like your brain doesn't catch up with what has happened to your body. You know what I mean? It's like that's part of the whole working for it process.
Yeah, you can't just fucking rewire your body and then your brain is still jacked this constant need for food.
Yeah, big time.
It's an obsession, man. People become it's so easy for people to get obsessed with things. For me, I can get obsessed with Q-tips, putting Q-tips in my ears. Yeah. I can get obsessed with video games. I can get obsessed with beating off. I can get obsessed with things where they just consume me, like I have to do them.
Yeah.
Dude, what the fuck kind of a flaw is that shit?
Yeah,
what a goofy ass flaw.
It sucks. We
At
all
least
have
mine, it's not the food one.
Right, exactly. It's like mine was always like the weed one, the sleeping one. It could be bad things, but I'm just at least smart enough to say, to not deny the addiction, just to know it could get out of hand if I gave into it.
You got to be careful.
Respect the beast in there.
Yeah, you got to be very careful. It's like dudes who used to smoke cigarettes. You go, I'm just going to have one cigarette.
Oh, come on.
Oh, dude. You get in a wrestling match right here with the devil.
Yeah.
He's going to tie you up, bitch.
Yeah. You're screwed with that.
Yeah, you fucked up.
I just complete out and out stay away from it. It's like the video games, the Grand Theft Auto. I got so addicted to it. Like I was literally dreaming and thinking and my mindset would be like, just take that cop's car and jack him. And then we'll get to the gig quicker. Like in
real life.
Yeah, because
it's
like that's my subconscious mind. But luckily, my conscious mind's like, no, no.
Do you think that rewires kids and makes them more susceptible?
I agree with him. I used to play this game where you jumped from building to building. I forget which game it was. City of Heroes. And after I played it for like a month straight, like 10 hours a day, I would go outside and forget I can't jump on top of buildings. Like I was just driving, going, I could jump on that building and that building. I'm like, what am I thinking?
And it's like if you're
very Darwinian.
If you're a kid, you haven't laid down those at least those deep rooted thoughts that will tell you that you can't do that. That little voice that says no, don't kill him.
Yeah,
it's like
you've
you don't
got
have
physical limitations.
The law doesn't even hold you accountable until you're 8 years old for murder or something like that. So think about that. If you're playing those video games and you're 4 or 5, and that's all you know.
You don't think, you just pull the trigger. Especially boys. You when you have little girls, you see them around little boys, you realize how fucking crazy boys are from the get go. Like there are a lot of things that are fucked up about human beings because of our culture. Right. But there's a lot of shit that's just in there, man. When you see like little boys, this little boy, there was 2 little 2-year-old babies in this big inflatable play thing, and one like 7-8-year-old boy. Okay, and this 7-8-year-old boy was fucking throwing himself through the air and crashing into the walls of this thing with no regard to these babies that were around him. It was such a trip to watch. And I was watching him like, dude, you got to settle down. You got to settle down. And you're looking at him like, he can't even help himself. This kid is wired up with this fucking chimpanzee DNA. I mean, he's like 6, man. And he's just throwing himself into the cage of this thing.
Yeah, it's just they're ingrained that way. They're crazy.
He's got to get that shit out. It's inside of him. If you take a kid like that and don't exercise, that should be a crime. It should be a crime to have a little male monster and not work it out.
Yeah, you got to give him an activity. Treat him just like a dog. Give him a ball and make him go chase it.
Dude, when I first started doing wrestling in high school, I first started really working out. I realized, because like I did martial arts before that, but quite honestly, the karate class that I did before wrestling, it wasn't good. It wasn't it wasn't hard enough to really break you.
Right.
But wrestling practice would break you.
Yeah,
it would break
Make you question yourself.
But you get out of there though, and you're so peaceful.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's nothing left.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't need to get upset about some asshole who cuts in front of you at the red light. It's all like whatever. Let him kind of.
I would see those guys in high school. I played football, and it was only hard for 2 weeks, Hell Week, the beginning of summer, especially in Arizona. It's hot as hell.
Yeah.
But the higher you went up in varsity, it was so easy because they didn't want anybody getting hurt. Nobody was going. In freshman football, you had to hit the biggest guy. They didn't care. They just sized anybody against anybody. But I would watch the wrestlers go back to the locker room after we went back to the locker room. I was like, those guys they would just lay there. They would be drenched.
Brutal.
But you never saw them on campus doing the meathead crap that we were doing, the football players.
They were exhausted.
They were exhausted, and they knew
get humbled too.
And they knew that they could end this situation a lot quicker than we could. You know,
there's that, but there's also they get it out of their system.
Yes.
If you're always competing with men and you're always like throwing yourself in there, you don't want to do it anymore.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
You know, it's like you're doing it it's the safest way to do it and deal with your biology. What you're doing is you're doing it in a controlled environment with a bunch of other people who agree to it, and it's honorable. And you do it like you tap each other around, and there's not even any hard feelings, man. It's like what you're like when you do jiu-jitsu, there's no hard feelings when guys get got. You know, somebody taps you out, you go, that's what happens. You get caught. What did I do wrong? Did I put my arm through? Oh, I fucked up. I forgot to put the arm here. All right, thank you. And then you go back again. It's like, but you get all this ingrained male dominator shit out of your system. We're not supposed to live all like hanging out like this.
Oh yeah.
With chimps, you know, like you know, chimps don't like hang out that much. If they get together with other chimps, like if they go meet other chimps, like they have like little tribes. If they go meet other chimps, they're fighting. Man.
Yeah, they're gangs.
They're fucking fighting.
Big
for
time.
sure, to the death. Sometimes they creep over and they don't even know these chimps. They just jack them. They just decide who's in their team and that's it. But we've got to deal with so many people all day long. You can't just jack people. But those signals are still present in like ghostly form in your brain.
And that's why I'm a dick on YouTube videos.
In what way? What do you mean?
I'm just kidding. I'm not a dick.
No.
It's like true, it's like message boards. Watching people on message boards how angry and psycho this is. And I'm always like, all right, if we are talking about something in a room together, all in a group, and you're the person sitting there like, this person's fat. Oh God, this person sucks. That's so stupid. I'm like, are you going to be sitting there going, yeah, listen to that guy? No, you're going to be doing the same thing you do on a message board where it's just like, what's wrong with this psycho, crazy,
Which
angry
says we have a social face that we put on for social issues, but at home, that's maybe who you really are, the shit you're saying on YouTube.
We've all been out with someone who's barely keeping it together. You know, someone who's like, yeah, nice shit, that's a great shirt.
Like,
who the fuck is this guy?
Why are you
trying shit on my shirt? You know, they're just boiling under the I'm just kidding around with you, man. Just kidding around with you, man.
Just unsolicited. They do the thing where they take a left turn when they see your reaction, like, what the fuck? And they're like, oh, no, I am kidding. It's just like, I'm not that mean.
Yeah, there's a bunch of dudes who just like to get douchey with dudes.
Yeah, Freddy,
and they just need to get it out of their fucking system.
I am.
Please. How dare you, Brian?
It's funny. The other day, I called Freddy, and he called me back and said, sorry, I just woke up. And I looked at the clock, and I was like, oh, it's 2:30.
You guys' day had already ended.
That's the real shit. That's how Freddy's rocking it, man. He's a fucking comic.
You know what I mean? Well, he's an artist, Joe.
Okay? Is that your Tommy? Let me hear it.
Well, it's not just that, okay?
I hear you've been talking to Mitzi.
Well, Mitzi and I did talk. And you can work out in the belly room, Joe, okay? But that's it for right now, okay?
Wow, what an honor. How often do you rub her feet?
Well, it's not just that, okay? Because Richard Pryor used to rub her feet, okay?
Freddy Lockhart, by the way, used to be on the Frank Caliendo show and is, in my opinion, one of the best impressionists out there. You do impressions that are very weird, man. You do some impressions that no one else does.
That's I figure that's what you should do. I always figure it's like, why get in and do something, the Nicholson, the ones like that. It's like I try to find a strange one and I do it. Like iced tea, man. Don't nobody do iced tea. Bunch of bitches. I do iced tea better than iced tea, man. I do his voiceover work and whatnot. I love to say whatnot. You know,
got the lisp and everything.
I try to
fights a little lisp there.
Yeah,
right?
he fights a little lisp, but it's kind of gangster and it works for him. You know what I'm saying? Bitches dig it. I used to do that at the Comedy Store. I used to call the Comedy Store as Ice-T, and this poor guy, Kenny Tenney, this guy used to work the phones there. Do you remember this guy?
Kenny Tenney.
He was Mitzi's pool guy, And there was something was off with him, definitely. I mean, I don't want to say what he had, but he definitely wasn't one of he wasn't thinking right. But he was like he made money. He had a pool company. He cleaned pools and he did it well. But he functioned like an 8-year-old. And I would call him every time he would pick up the phone. I would call him and I would be iced tea, and he would fall for it every time. But like, yo, man, I'm bringing 30 people in tonight, man. What you got on my booth situation? They'd be like, Mr. T, we don't have a booth at 6:30. I'm like, you better build one for me. Well, I'll see if we can. I was just like, oh.
That's hilarious.
That's how I would brush up on the impression, is if I could fool Kenny Tenney, I felt like it was golden.
Yeah, how do you work impressions? Do you practice them at home and then eventually bring them to the stage, or do you know when you hear somebody whether or not you can do it?
You know, there's a lot of people, if you hear them right away, I know I can do it. If somebody tends to have a deeper voice or something like that, or there's a weird thing about them, I know I can do it, but I always, more so than the way it sounds, it's the way somebody looks when they talk, because people move their mouth a certain way. That'll reveal half the impression.
I noticed you did that with the Obama thing. That Obama thing, I watched it online where they took some footage from like the 70s, it looks like, and inserted your clips into it.
Right.
That was great stuff, man. You really do a good Obama, man.
It was, that was a show on Super Deluxe, an internet series I had, but the whole thing was I would take facts and skew them a little. I love time traveling. It's my biggest obsession. So that's I'm obsessed with it. I'm working on a show right now about time travel.
That's fascinating. You're talking to the right guy.
So I'm talking tachyon particles, the whole thing. I'm into it, man.
Do you know who Ronald Mallet is? Do you know the whole story?
No.
How the fuck do you know time travel? You don't know who Ronald Mallet is?
I love time travel.
Dude, Ronald Mallet is the premier expert in America on time travel, and this is the crazy part about him. We've talked about him on the show before, but I'm gonna bring it up again just because it's such a fascinating story. The dude's like a fucking Spider-Man comic book. Okay, his dad died when he was a child, so he became obsessed. He loved his dad and became obsessed.
I did read about him. I know exactly. Is he a black guy?
Yes,
he's a black guy. Okay, yeah,
University of Connecticut.
Sure.
And he developed. Isn't it funny that we have to say he's a black guy?
Yeah, but that's why I was like, man, right on, because I was excited when I saw he was black.
Super powerful, like Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
Those kind of guys.
You said his son died?
You know, his father
died.
Was he robbing?
Here's the story. His father died. Brian, how dare you? Was he robbing a place? You're so white too, the way you say it. God, you just smell like cheese.
Was he fixing a convenience store?
They were into baseball together, him and his old man. They loved it. They collect cards and stuff.
So his whole life became obsessed with time travel because he wanted to go back in time and save his dad.
Right.
Wow, it's fucking trippy shit. The guy has a peer-reviewed paper that he wrote on time travel where physicists agree, like theoretically, this all makes sense. If you could develop this kind of power, you could go back in time. Right now, we can't develop the kind of power that's necessary to do it. But But that's some trippy shit.
I think isn't he currently building a light thing that he's trying to send a light back in time, literally back in time, and it makes sense what he's saying. And I actually, when I stumbled upon that, I was excited because I thought, time travel. I always thought it to be possible. My mom worked at NASA when I was a little kid, and I think that's where the curiosity started. When I lived at Edwards Air Force Base, they were always testing X jets and crazy shit that the government was working on, which just made me know that they're really aware of shit that we had no idea about. And that's when I kind of got into time travel, and I thought, you could future time travel, just manipulation of time. Basically, you stay above the Earth's atmosphere at a mile or go a gazillion miles an hour.
Yeah.
You'll come back and you'll have lost time.
Yeah.
Or no, you'll be ahead.
You'll be ahead. You'll be still 30, but everyone will be 100 years old.
Right. So I was new to that, but I got really excited when I read his article that you could go back in the past. Like, wait a second, you can do that? You can.
They think you could only go back to the moment the first time machine was invented. But that's just theoretical too.
I had this argument with Brandon Christie about this, and the whole thing about time travel. It's like, doesn't time, once it's exposed, isn't it all a moot point after that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's what they talk about with the grandfather clause. If you go back and you shoot your grandfather, then that makes it impossible for you to time travel.
But that doesn't, because I think that just means you break time. They didn't take that option into consideration when people talk about that story. The grandfather paradox. They always say, well, if you did go back in time, you'd kill your grandfather before your father was ever born. Therefore, you would never exist to make the time machine. But that doesn't mean you couldn't do that.
Right.
You could still do that. People say, well, that means you couldn't have a time machine. Well, yeah, you could.
Yeah.
You could. You would just do that, and then you'd break everything.
Right. It would be like a parallel life. Kind of like Back to the Future was. There was two 1955.
That's when it becomes string theory. It goes off into another
There's
world.
people that believe, and this is a very strange theory, but it might be just as real as the one we live in, that they believe that every second you live your life, every decision you make, everything you do, all the energy that you put down, guides you into various parallel dimensions.
Yeah.
And that we are not just living in one dimension, that we are living in an infinite number of dimensions that are all around us all the time.
Right.
And we can choose to slide through these dimensions with our thoughts.
Oh, wow.
Is that as you live your life correctly, as you live your life in the direction that you want to do with little procrastination, focused and love and joy, as you do this correctly, you move through higher and higher dimensions.
Well, that's
that they all exist all around
pretty
us.
much what Buddhism teaches too, and the whole thought, and even with the yogis, they know about that, and through meditation and time
I don't
travel.
know if they know about that. I mean, you can't say they know about it.
Yeah, they can't say they know about it.
It's an idea.
Western science has come along and started to pick apart and ask why, and find the things in the brain that make it possible. Did you guys see the thing on CNN last week with the alleged time traveler lady with the cell phone?
Yeah, that's nonsense.
Basically,
first of all,
there were crazy people back then too.
People aren't even paying attention. They had hearing aids back then.
Right.
Exactly like that.
Right.
Yeah, what's crazy is that
People
video
didn't
became
hear.
big, and then the next day, all the places were like, "No, it's just a hearing aid." But yet, I still get emails every day from people.
Dude, I get Twitter messages all day. Is time travel real? Yeah, there's cell phone towers in 1910. You fuck.
Right.
Well, how is this fucking phone working?
Magic
Who's this
cell
cunt
phone.
calling?
Yeah, who's she with?
This bitch calling the future? She's calling from the past to the future because otherwise it's not a fucking phone for her to be calling.
Right. It'd been more realistic if she was just like staring at it or
I'm
something.
not impressed by someone holding their ear up to their head.
Well, that one was just they wanted to throw it out there, and they knew that they couldn't back it up. Like CNN ran it, and it was like, and I want to believe.
What the fuck is CNN running that for?
It was the front page
That's just
too.
so distracting. That's so stupid and distracting.
And I as much as I love time travel, I was like, come on, don't make a mockery of time travel by showing crap like that. That's what really sucks. Think about if you could even time travel. If you could go to the 80s and whip out your iPhone, you'd get arrested for witchcraft, dude. I mean, they would stomp you to death if they saw that thing.
I've always said that.
If you go 10 years ago, that would happen to you. You know what I mean? It's like the way technology. I think in our lifetime, like the kids today. It's true. It's like the kids today, we're closer to kids who grew up in like the 1940s.
We're closer to cavemen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The way things have changed.
Dude, I'm watching kids today growing up with porn from the get-go.
Yeah.
These kids are like 13, they're taking it in the ass. They think that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, it's the chickens have come home to roost.
Yeah.
All those shitty parents out there that make porn stars, all those shitty parents have infected other people's kids as well through porn.
Yeah, they're getting porn on their PlayStation.
They're taking pictures of their pussies and shit and sending them throughout class.
Kids are filthy today.
Dirty little fucks.
I was cleaning my laptop out last night, going through all this shit, just trying to make room for it because it's just crazy crowded. And I'm just going through all these videos, and I found out that like if you have the Mail app and you have like a Gmail account on there, it will download everything from your Gmail account, every video, every photo. At least that's the setting I had. And so I was like, where's all my hard drive space? So I'm going through all this shit, and there was videos that people had sent me that must have went to spam folders, like crazy videos, like, just spam videos and stuff. One of them was this woman where they were taking you've all seen this, where the funnel with putting the eels in the woman's and then it starts shooting out like salmon. Well, I'm showing this girl I just met, I'm like doing this in front of her, and she looks over, she goes, "What the fuck are you looking at?" And I'm like, I don't know, but that's just crazy to think, like somebody sent me that video. If I ever lose my laptop and like the FBI goes, "Hey, let's go see what's in this laptop," he has videos of young girl with salmons coming out of their ass.
Oh my
like,
God.
You don't even know
How
what's
old was
on
the girl?
No, I'm not saying
Salmons are big.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying what.
Yeah, I was gonna say
but that
stream.
But that video existed on my laptop without me knowing. Is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. It could be anything.
Yes.
Yeah. It could be child porn.
Yeah,
It
right.
could be anything.
That's what I'm saying. But that was kind of scary. So fuck the Mail app.
Well, that's the thing too. It's like
that sounds pretty
it's
weak.
like that desensitized. Think if you're in third grade and you see that, like, around fifth grade, we'd get a Debbie Does Dallas tape. Somebody's dad would have it.
Yep.
Somebody would have the balls to gank it while his old man was drunk, and it would pass around eighth grade. Like everybody got to see it, and you put it back and you gave it back to the kid. But that was pretty much porn then. It's like now, they can look at it on their cell phone in class.
Yeah, they're iPhones.
Yeah.
iPhones get the HTML5 is like the standard for porn sites now because the iPhones don't use Flash.
Yeah.
So all these porn sites are switching to HTML5, and that's you can watch that shit on your iPhone.
Dude, what a gangster move that was on Steve Jobs' part too.
He's a bad motherfucker.
Is he a gangster?
Dude.
He goes. You know what? I won't put Flash needs to catch up with me. I mean, that was just like ballsy.
85% of the animated websites on the internet use it. He's like, No.
You know, back in the day when you liked a girl, you would like, hey, meet me at the big toy and I'll finger you or touch your boobs or stuff. Nowadays, they're just like, hey, go to the bathroom and finger your pussy, and I'm going to go into the bathroom and finger my dick, and then we're going to FaceTime it. We're going to FaceTime it on the 3rd grade Wi-Fi network. You know, can you imagine what these kids are doing nowadays with like FaceTime and kids and stuff?
It should also honestly make for some really smart fucking kids though. Like if they use the knowledge, there's going to be some smart fucking kids.
They'll be so much more aware than we were at that age.
Yeah, they're going to be much more advanced.
I didn't know anything at that age.
I didn't know a damn thing.
When I was 18, I get very uncomfortable around people who were religious.
Yeah.
Because I thought maybe they knew something. I thought maybe they were in on something, and they were like more powerful.
Oh, wow.
Because they believed it.
Wow.
So that's what I thought when I was 18. That's how fucking dumb I was. I was religious when I was younger, and then when I was 18, I was like, because when you're young, you're fucking dumb, man.
Oh, yeah.
I had no access to information. There's no fucking internet when I was a kid. I had the people in my neighborhood and school.
Yeah.
Is that shit anywhere grounded inside your brain though? Like, does it ever come out where you're sitting there like after an earthquake, and you're like, Jesus Lord, you bring out your rosary and stuff, and you start like, no, it's not at all.
No, it's gone.
Were you big time? Were you Catholic?
Yeah, I was raised Catholic when I was in 1st grade, and then immediately thought it was horse shit because 1st grade was so horrible.
Yeah.
This fucking cunt nun that I had, Sister Mary Josephine, this fucking crazy bitch. She was just incarnate evil, just an evil, dried up old woman who had wasted her life on some nonsense and fucking hated kids.
Were you super religious growing up?
No, not at all. My parents were an interracial couple. It's like already that's just kind of like,
So
come on.
you do a lot of cocaine and
My parents, though, what happened with me is I went from this religious upbringing from Catholic school in 1st grade to moving to San Francisco in 2nd grade with my mother's new husband, who was a hippie.
Oh, wow.
Computer programmer with long hair. So my dad was this like cop douchebag in Jersey, and I grew up like in that like Catholic, hey, you're not in the Lord's name in vain.
Right.
Fuck, son of a bitch, they slap you in the head. Like that kind of, I grew up in that. Like people would just smack you in the head for no reason.
Wow.
And then I grew up in that, and then all of a sudden hippies in San Francisco.
Wow.
So it was a total trip. My next door neighbors were these gay dudes who used to get naked and hang out with my aunt, because my aunt, didn't worry about them fucking her.
Yeah.
Because they were gay. Gay as fuck. Big, muscular black guy. Gay,
Wow.
dark, black, Africa, Kenya, right? Black as fuck. He'd just be naked walking around his
Loves the
house.
butt.
And his boyfriend. And both of them would then they all would get together and just smoke weed and take their clothes off.
Wow.
Nobody fucked. Nobody did anything. They just lie around smoking weed. And I knew about this when I was 7.
Wow.
So I went from this fucking crazy primate jungle of Jersey Italians.
Yeah, chest beating.
Smacking each other and throwing shit at each other. It's just like being in a chimp cage, right? So I went from that to hippies and gay dudes who are naked, smoking weed, hanging out with my aunt.
That is hilarious, dude.
This is the craziest fucking 180 ever.
And you got good parts of both, though, wouldn't you say? Like good parts of, like, the progressive thoughts and ideas, but also that you're not your typical pussy comic.
Well,
I'll tell you that much.
The East Coast thing is where men are forced to become men like, at a quick age.
Right.
You get fucked with.
Right.
Dudes are looking to kick your ass.
Right.
There's a lot of the West Coast people, it's a little more relaxed than that.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's good that it's more relaxed than that. But I think it creates people that are a little more confused.
Yeah, there does seem to be a survival of the fittest element in the Jersey, New York area. Like a lot of the kids
a
are
lot of smart people there too, man.
Yeah.
You talk to some stressed out, smart motherfuckers in New York.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're
big time.
intense, man. They're fucking stressed out. They
yeah.
want to step outside for a cigarette. Step outside.
Yeah.
You don't even know what's going on with Lehman Marcus and the whole way the system is set up. It's impossible for them to fail. What they're doing is they're getting fucking paid. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
These are smart, super intense motherfuckers. And you're like, I have to choose what I do here because I can go with you on this crusade.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And lose my life to this crazy type of thinking, or I can go, I'm going to go to California.
Yeah.
And I'm going to smoke some pot and relax.
This definitely is. There is an intensity on the East Coast. I mean, there's definitely a reason all the Ivy League schools are on the East Coast. It's like there's an intensity there, and there's a fervor about things.
I believe part of it has to do with dealing with weather.
Yeah.
I think that dealing with weather is a humbling thing, and I think it makes you, you have to stockpile food for the winter.
Sure.
And you didn't just have to do it in 1950. You had to do it in 1850 when there's no refrigerators.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And a lot of those people that lived there are the ancestors for people that lived, those are the people that established it. And the other people if it wasn't for if they weren't there 200 years ago, they were in another country, okay, and they took a chance coming over on a fucking boat to some place they've never seen when there was no movies about it, no internet. They had to hear stories from someone, a letter, you know, dear John, I have made it here to the new land. Oh, the fruit is plenty. The brown people are strange. They have paint on their face. Gold is everywhere. Come soon. So they just took chances and fucking got on boats and traveled across a goddamn ocean when there's no GPS, no cell phones, no fucking flares. Bitch, if that fucking boat goes down, you're done.
That's it.
You're in the middle of the ocean, which is bigger than the continent.
On a gamble for a maybe.
God damn it, you're just hoping to float it out, you crazy asshole. That's how bad Europe sucked. Europe sucked so bad in the 1700s. Dudes were willing to get dysentery and cholera, and what would they get for scurvy from no vitamin C? They were fucking eating rats, bro, to stay alive. People were dying. They were throwing them off the boat. A lot of people died. They would get sick. Everyone would get ill.
The plague, all that. That's why they come here. They'd rather come here to nothing. To have an established, you know, roads and shit that we had nothing, and then we built our own. We made our own.
They came to trees and water, and they're like, I'll take it. Get me the fuck away from these douchebags over there.
Exactly. And they kept the attitude too, especially on the East Coast where they colonized. They just kept the attitude.
And I think it seems to me that the West Coast is all slowly, as far as you get out, a big percentage of those people are going to be the children of the people who originally landed. They're going to be the people that got there. Everybody landed on the east, pretty much, right? And so then they go, well, fuck this place. Let's keep moving west. And they kept going and going and going and going. So the people that made it all the way here, it's almost like spoiled children. You know? You know what I'm saying? It's almost like they don't appreciate what it takes to make all this happen. Like you're lucky. You're just in a lucky spot. You found a spot where it doesn't snow and it doesn't get too hot and it hardly ever rains. It's an easy spot to live.
It really is, and they say it does something to the psyche as far as, you know, the lack of change kind of almost puts us in a trance. You know, where you gear up for winter back east and all that. I do like the idea of socializing there on the East Coast. They are a lot more social with each other, and like if you're in New York, you can see a real heated debate get really heated, but never come to blows. Where on the West Coast, it would come to blows because
it comes to stupid. We don't comes to
exactly. We don't cross paths with each other as much as they do. We don't share a confined space. It's real spread out here. It always has been.
Well, they walk.
They walk.
No one walks here.
Oh,
in California,
not at all.
There's no walking. So it's a much worse setup because you're so disconnected from all the people around you. That's why it's like there's such a big contrast between the haves and have-nots here. It's the most obvious. This is the most bling-bling part of the country. And one of the reasons why is because you feel disconnected from all the people that you're around. You're not touching them. You're not in contact with them. You're not on the subway with them. You're not walking down the street interacting with them. And because of that, you feel like you're disconnected from them. You feel like you're not a part of them. They're something else, and it makes a separatism between the two gaps.
And there's a lack of respect for each other. And it's like that's the thing is you don't hear you know the most racist, homophobic people are places where there aren't any. You know, which is so funny because it's just so.
I will never understand people who hate gay people because out of all the gay people I've ever met, 70% of them were entertaining as fuck.
Dude, the nicest, happiest people in the world. They're like little teddy bears that have dicks and they're trying to fuck
Jeff,
you.
the piano guy, man. Was he one of the coolest motherfuckers of all time?
He's so cool.
So
creative, cool, loyal. I mean,
a great guy.
Why would you care if it had nothing to do with you? That's what I don't get.
Stupid. That's the real prejudice should be against people who are prejudiced against gay people. What the fuck is wrong with you? You can't. That's like being. Look, it sounds like a terrible thing to say, but it's like being upset at someone for any other physical animality. Like being short. You know, being having a big fucking nose. Like
exactly.
You hate people that have a big nose. He's born gay. If you don't think someone's born gay, hang out with gay people.
Who chooses
They will all tell you, man. Almost to a man. They all were like, when I was 7, I looked at the catalogs and I got hard on. I didn't know why. And Sports Illustrated made my dick tingle. They all tell you that, man.
There's some deep-seated fear that they have it within them if they hate them.
There's some dudes that could be pushed into it, and I think they're very scared.
Those are very scared.
There's a lot of on-the-fence people. There's a lot of people. They're also wired to do what they're not supposed to do. There's a lot of people that are just wired to do shit that's wrong.
I think it has something to do with people that like blowjob videos. Guys that like blowjob videos.
Well, I think some dudes, for real, like, some dudes are so dumb that they're so, like, they fight the system no matter what. They're wired to not do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
But if they're in a situation where they're drunk and they're with a guy, the situation to not do is not let this guy suck your dick.
Right.
But they might be so crazy and stupid. And they're like, all right, let's see what this is like.
Oh, you want to do this shit? Yeah. And
just because I don't give a fuck, bro. I'll do whatever.
And I know we all have guys in our head that we're thinking of, but it's just like, and probably some of the same guys too. It's like, especially within this thing, when you meet guys like that. I've met so many. One we were talking about earlier in your kitchen.
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of people that are a mess. But still, man, the prejudice against hating gay people to me is one of the most disturbing ones.
It's getting exposed that it ain't cool though. I mean, it's definitely there, but like some really cool people are starting to say, knock it off.
It has to be, because I want to be able to use the word faggot and not worry about anything.
You can.
I don't want anybody thinking I'm a goddamn homophobe, because I'm not at all, not even a little bit. And I want to be able to make fun of crazy people like Ted Haggard and not be called a homophobe.
Oh, right.
Guy, or this Eddie Long character that's been banging kids. Like, there's a lot of these crazy religious assholes that are pretending to be straight when really they're gay and they're fucking people. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with being gay. What I'm talking about is some crazy liar. I'm not talking about two people that are in a consensual relationship and they enjoy each other's company and they both happen to be guys. What do I give a fuck about that? What's funny to me is crazy assholes like Ted Haggard.
Oh yeah, who go on a crusade.
Super religious and doing meth and getting hookers off Craigslist. Just loking out. But it's a funny thing, whereas if you start making fun of that guy, all of a sudden you're making fun of all gays.
Yeah, that's where it's getting kind of ridiculous. It's like you still have to be able to, like, you know,
you gotta be able to make fun of everything if it's valid.
There's hood people, and we make fun of them. It's not like we're making fun of all black people. Like, remember that everybody getting raped in here? Remember the internet person?
What is that?
The one where everybody getting raped in here. Everybody getting raped in here. It's like, we were made fun of that person. Not all black people. It's just that person. Same with the flamboyant gay or the guy hiding it. I mean, the guys like Haggerty, that's hilarious. It's like you find out he's not just gay, but he's the most devious, just disgusting, like it's almost like a Law and Order episode. It's so bad. It's like, are you kidding me?
I loved the gay hooker that he was banging went on CNN. My man just outed him. He's like, I'm a gay hooker. He just went on CNN and admitted he was a gay prostitute, and he had sex several times with Ted Haggard, and they smoked meth together and shit.
So brilliant.
Whoa, that guy got on CNN. But how much? I think he probably got more dick after that. I bet his fucking roster was stocked every
Haggard?
day. No, the gay hooker.
The gay hooker.
I bet that was like the best thing for his business ever.
Big time.
If he was smart, he would have said, "I'll go on. Just poke my website up there. Plug my website."
Yeah, he got Bible butt.
GayMilitary.com.
That kind of guy, like when they find out about guys like that, I just love it. It's like you never think you're going to see that kind of justice in your life. When one of the one of the worst people on earth, you're like, how is this for me? It's like, that's
exactly.
So good.
It's like a gift from the universe.
Like to see Rush Limbaugh really get his, or somebody like that. You know what I mean? Like to see it.
Well, when he was hooked on OxyContin, so it was pretty close. Homeboy was taking 100 oxys a day and ranting on against the liberal elite.
You don't just kick that.
Well, it made him go deaf. How about that?
Jeez,
he was doing so many oxys, he lost his hearing. Holla.
Oh, that's
what the? How the fuck does that work? Alex Jones explained the medical reasoning behind it to me. I don't remember it, nor do I know if it's correct.
Yeah.
But what he said, and it makes sense to me. I don't think. Look, you go deaf, and by the way, you happen to be doing 100 oxys a day. Dude, that might be related.
I can't believe
that fat fuck was throwing down 100.
I can't hear, but I'm going to continue to use it because I like getting high.
You can do a Rush Limbaugh, man. We need to make some parodies.
Yes, Rush Limbaugh.
Yes.
I buy this off of a liberal.
Brody.
But I do them.
It's so funny. That guy's just tuned into that dumb ideology. That just dumb. You know, I'm a fucking patriot. I'm here to. There's a good God Christian loving country here, and we need to support all these goddamn hippies out there and liberals. They're trying to take down this democracy. This great thing that was founded in 17 blah blah blah, and they'll just start rattling off facts and numbers.
You think he believes all that? You think him and Beck and those guys?
They're acts.
They know they're acts, right?
They're all acts. They know it's far more complex than that, but it's that position is an excellent profit position.
Yeah.
You can make a lot of fucking money being the super patriot guy rallying against the liberals.
Especially
because nobody
now.
wants to be a pussy, okay?
Yeah,
and liberals are pussies.
Yeah, big
That's
time.
the problem.
That's a big
You know, people go, what are you, Rogan? Don't tell me you're a liberal.
Come on,
don't
bro.
tell me I want freedom. Don't tell me I want the ability to express yourself unhindered. That I believe in the First Amendment. That I think gay people should be willing to do whatever the fuck they want to do, or allowed to do whatever the fuck they want to do. People should be able to get married. You shouldn't, hate crime shouldn't be real. I think, we should figure out how to fucking clean up the ghettos. I think we should figure out how to use some of our taxes to fucking help out little kids that are born into some shit position, and it's supposed to be all within the jurisdiction of this country. So why aren't we approaching that?
Yeah.
So if that makes me a liberal, I'm a liberal.
Which everything you named, a lot of people are scared to realize that they are. I have a lot of friends, especially back in Arizona, growing up there, who like, bro, I'm conservative. It's like, look at you. You look like a rapper right now. You're not conservative. you quote Tupac. You're not conservative. You're just not.
What people think of conservative, a lot of it is in support of big business, and that's a problem because they say, well, hey, it's just fucking capitalism. That's why this country's so great. I totally am in favor of big business. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have all this cool shit. But the problem is big business likes to act like it's not a person, like it's above being a person. If big business was a person and did all this shit, it would get sued and closed down and arrested, and you'd have real problems.
He'd be an asshole.
Like Halliburton. There's $90 billion missing from Iraq. $90 billion. If Halliburton was a dude... And he's like, I don't know. It's fucking gone, man. They're like, well, Bob, there's 90 billion missing. 90,000 million. Where the fuck is it? I don't know. You couldn't fucking do that. They would arrest that guy. That guy would be in shackles in the court. That would be the #1 story on the news.
Ever, yeah.
Bob Halliburton in the court today. Doesn't know where he put the 90 billion.
It's like misplacing a state. Like, where's Wyoming?
Fuck is 90?
Where did Wyoming go?
Think of the number, God. 90 billion. That is so huge.
That is such a sizable piece of money that could do so much for every state in the nation.
Dude,
that they would notice it. I'm talking major shit.
They're missing so much money over there. They're missing money from the mercenary accounts. They're missing. They don't know where the fuck anything is going.
That's amazing.
Do you know that Monsanto, the fucking seed corporation, the genetically modified food corporation, the one that sells seeds to farmers and then makes the farmer buy new seeds next year, and if you can't use the seeds,
no wax seeds.
Yeah, you can't like reuse them like nature intends. You can't like if you buy a fucking tomato and that tomato has seeds in it, or rather you buy seeds for the tomato, grow the tomato, and then take the seeds out of tomatoes you grow and replant them, they'll arrest you.
You're breaking the law.
You're breaking the law.
Yeah.
They just bought Blackwater.
Jeez, God, dude. Jeez, the devil just bought
the most evil corporation
ever.
Bought the second most evil corporation.
That is awful. I saw that. I saw what they did to those poor farmers, those poor guys. They're like, what am I supposed to do? They're like, you're growing seeds, aren't you?
A chick named Crooklyn from Tap Out Radio sent me a documentary, and I watched it, and it's all about these people from these impoverished countries that committed suicide because they couldn't repay the debt that they owed to Monsanto.
Oh, my God.
Dude, it's all about how what they figured out was if you could get patents on plants.
Yeah.
If you could modify a plant, get a patent on it, then you own it, then you copyright that plant. It's yours.
Right.
No one else can grow it. And you can control it, just like downloads on the internet.
It's
fucking nuts,
crazy,
man. They've figured out a way to do that with food.
Yeah.
They figured out a way to copyright food. It's like their food.
When I saw that, I saw a bunch of those, the King Corn and all those other ones, and I was honest to God, completely naive about the whole thing. I don't eat fast food and that kind of crap, but I was like, I think I'm doing okay, but I don't realize it doesn't matter that I'm getting the choice cut of beef at Ralph's. It's still from this corn-fed slaughterhouse. They said there was something like 14,000 slaughterhouses in America in the early 80s, and now there's like 5.
Really?
Like literally, it's all going down through one company, Tyson Farms, and I can't remember the other one, but it's like literally your meat is all, and it's like if one's bad, that's why people are getting sick with E. coli like all over in mass numbers, because it's like nothing's regionalized anymore. It's all centralized. It's like we make it here, we chop the meat up, we put the bad with the good, and we sell it to you. It's like unless you're getting shit from a farmer that is a farmer or your local. Luckily here we've got them, farmers markets, but it's disgusting.
That's another fucked up thing about people: the disconnect between the meat and your food, the disconnect between where it comes from.
Oh yeah,
there's a big disconnect there. I've told people that I want to go hunting. I'm supposed to go hunting with Ricky Schroeder this season.
Oh wow!
And Ricky Schroeder loves to hunt.
Really,
it's kind of crazy. and I tell people about it, they're like, why would you want to kill an animal? Why would you want to do that? I'm like, you eat meat. Don't you eat meat? Yeah. Someone's killing that. Well, you know what? I don't have to see it. If I don't have to see it, I don't want to see it.
Right.
You don't want to see it, but you're experiencing what comes from it, and that's like there's a disconnect there. That can never be healthy.
Yeah.
It can never be healthy to be eating animals and not know what it feels like to kill an animal.
Right. Yeah, you're right about that.
It can't because you're not going to appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about the people that we consider the most in tune with nature. Those are the American Indians, right? Those are the ones that we always glorify, and we always, say that these are the guys that were like in tune with the. They used every part of the buffalo that they killed.
Yeah, they didn't waste anything. They lived harmoniously with their.
And they would like praise the spirit of the animal that provided them with food. They had this respect for their own prey.
Right.
Was like very prevalent throughout their culture. Respect for the buffalo and all these different stories about the buffalo.
When we came in and slaughtered them all.
Dude, you want to talk about how destructing human beings can be? That's one of the greatest stories ever.
Oh yeah, just how many they slaughtered. Just slaughtered them in how short a time.
There was millions of them. They used to be all over the place.
Yeah.
Buffalo used to be like overwhelming all over this country.
I'd freak out if I saw one once. I've seen one in my life.
Can you imagine? That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
And they just went nutty, shooting all of them and taking their skins. That was like a big business.
Yeah.
Shooting buffaloes and selling their skins.
Yeah. And then they didn't know they were picking them off like what just like cherries in the beginning because they didn't know to be afraid of man because they never had been and they never heard a gun.
Yeah.
They didn't know to scatter when they heard that gun. They just go, boom, one would drop. Boom, another would drop.
Talk about a fucking species getting jacked.
Yeah.
Species living forever in this one spot, having no problems, eating grass, wandering around, and all of a sudden these little pink monkeys with metal bang sticks come out of nowhere and just start dropping motherfuckers.
Yeah.
We talk about an alien invasion, man. And how terrifying must that shit been to Buffalo?
Oh, I know.
That's like an alien invasion. That's like fucking We Are the War of Worlds.
Right.
We Are the World. We Are the World.
It would be like We Are the World. All the monkeys are holding hands with the buffalo.
Dude, think about how fucking freaky that would be if buffalo were intelligent and this just started happening and they were just stuck with these goofy buffalo bodies.
Oh,
I mean, look at dolphin bodies. Dolphins can't really move anything around. They can't manipulate things. They're kind of stuck just as much as buffalo are.
You just can't say that man doesn't have an effect on his environment because that's the first series of evidence that proves that.
Dude, we wiped out Indians, buffaloes, everything.
Yeah, dude, we make shit extinct and then we bring a thing or two back like the California condor.
But it was like who? Yeah, right. Keep that spotted owl healthy.
That little prick who in my front yard, that owl, I hate that prick. I hate him.
I got a big ass owl that lives in my neighborhood, bro. I see this motherfucker at night. He's big like a dog.
Yeah, dude.
Owls are no joke.
No, they're not.
They are big and fucking scary, and they're like the most ruthless predators.
Oh, big time.
Owls attack eagles.
Yeah.
They go in eagles' nests while eagles are sleeping and kill them. How about that?
Those are bad
Those fucking
news.
talons, they get you, man. I seen them jack rabbits around here, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's a trip. You're watching like Wild Kingdom type shit right on my street.
It's weird to have there's a bird of prey living in our front yard.
A big one, bro.
And when he gets loud at night, woo!
Yeah.
I'm just like, please be quiet.
Yeah.
Woo! It's just so scary. It's like you hear it coming from his diaphragm. He's a man.
It's like a man. It's like a 60-pound animal.
There's a dude out in the tree.
I mean, I don't know how much they actually weigh, but it looks like if it was a dog, it'd be like a 50
I'm willing to bet they
pound
get that
dog.
big, 5-6 foot wingspan.
It's a flying cat.
There was one outside, bigger than a cat, way bigger than a cat. There was one outside my window the other day. He was just sitting on my railing. The motherfucker he had to be almost 3 feet tall.
Wow. You ever find their
a big
pelts too?
fucking gray thing.
Yeah.
And I'm looking, I'm like, that's like a demon, man. It's like this thing that only comes out at night and just jacks things.
Yeah.
It takes advantage of the fact that everyone else is sleeping and just fucks things.
Like, you got to think, like, the first person to see, like, I always think that about silverback gorillas. Compared to men, they were discovered pretty recently in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
I think,
very recently.
the mountain gorilla in the 50s was, like, the first time somebody came across, like, this healthy, furry black man who can. I'm half black, by the way, audience. Just to get that out of the way. Hey, man, who the. Like, just a monster. There's a monster.
800-pound ferocious vegetarian.
Like, and nobody would believe
with
you.
little dicks, little 1-inch dicks,
little tiny ones.
Yeah,
and peaceful animals at that too. You notice them versus the chimps. The chimps are the ones with the loose screws.
Yeah,
they start clapping.
Chimps are out of control.
They're like gangs, but the gorilla just eats and sleeps.
Well,
all
they're
day.
vegetarians. That's the difference. Yeah, that's clearly the difference. But I mean, they've figured out a way to supply their body with just plants, so there's no need to be aggressive except to protect themselves.
Are you a vegetarian?
No.
Do you know Herschel Walker?
Yes.
What's his? Is his diet real?
It may not be.
bread and
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it does. It
Doesn't make any sense.
You couldn't maintain mass.
Apparently, Herschel Walker is one of those guys, and he's a tremendous athlete and an incredible competitor. And he's a great football player, and he's been a great spokesperson for depression and for brain injuries and shit like that. I mean, he's a bad motherfucker, and he's a tremendous athlete. I mean, I'm very impressed with the way he gets into Strike Force. But the knock on him is that he wants people to think and know that he's extraordinary.
Right.
You know, so I mean, he is extraordinary as an athlete. He's got extraordinary work ethic, extraordinary abilities, but he wants people to think that he's like something out of this world. So he'll say something like, I don't know this is true. I mean, this is just what I've heard.
Right.
What I've heard is that he'll say, well, I only eat a bowl of soup a day. Meanwhile, he's fucking eating food, man. Look at him.
Yeah.
He weighs 220 pounds. He would disappear.
Exactly.
It's like,
that's the thing.
Stop it with your crazy talk.
He's massive. His traps start from the bottom of his ears and go down here.
I don't necessarily believe his diet.
Yeah,
but I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard my whole life growing up. They're like, he only does push-ups. He only does prison work.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
he does. He does.
I bought that, but the meal thing, I was like, there's no way.
It doesn't make any sense.
Your body would eat it. Your muscles would continue start to eat themselves.
There's no food. That's not enough calories.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. It's like 1 + 1 is 89.
Right.
That's what you're saying to me. You're saying you eat a bowl of soup every day? Okay. And you weigh 220 and you fucking do MMA workouts for 3 hours a day and you're 47.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
I'm
you just
God.
said some nonsense.
I'm God. That's
I don't know
who
what I mean. I don't know what he's really eating. And I don't even know what he really said. But
Right.
But I've heard people that were very knowledgeable, that were professional fitness people, instructors, and and personal trainers, fight trainers, and nutritionists. I've heard like a conversation like among 6 guys, and they were all saying, "There's no fucking way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
There's no way. Even with supplements, there's no way.
It's like this guy's eating food. He has to eat food.
Yeah, you have to.
I mean, some guys go vegan. There's a lot of guys that are vegans.
Yeah.
That's pretty extreme. Antonio McKee's a very successful wrestler. He's really good. He's been undefeated for like I think 6-7 years in a row. Just fucking takes guys down, outworks them. And he's a vegan, straight vegan. Mac Danzig, he's another one, straight vegan.
What's the deal though? How do you get your protein? It's like I could never be one. I mean,
quinoa is the best source because quinoa is this grain
delicious.
It's spelled quinona. It's spelled like Q-U-I-O-N-A or something like that.
It's
not
so awesome.
Yeah, it's really good, and it's a grain that has all the amino acids in it. But if you have like hemp protein, you're not going to get all of them, and if you have like rice protein, you're not going to get all of them. You don't get the same stuff that you get out of meat unless you're very careful. You got to be like really careful with your protein.
I mean, is it better to be a vegetarian? Do you think?
I don't think so. Not necessarily. It's an interesting story when Travis Barker from Blink 180, whatever the fuck it is. What is he from? What
With
band?
tattoos.
The dude with tattoos. Yeah. That guy got in a terrible plane crash.
Right, with the TJ.
Yeah. Well, when he got fucked up in that plane crash, that's when he became a meat eater because the skin grafts weren't taking. Skin grafts weren't taking, and then once he started eating meat, they started taking.
Wow.
I've been eating hardcore vegan for like the last couple weeks.
How many dicks you suck in those times?
But but I've been only doing it like 90% of the time. Meaning I'm not like I still throw in steak and stuff like that here and there. But so I'm not doing 100% vegan. But I have noticed since I've been eating it, I just feel way better. And like,
well, you need to clean your diet
vegan
up.
cheese, by the way, is so awesome.
For you need to clean your diet up. You know that. So
I've always been eating healthy for Weight Watchers because I've been doing Weight Watchers for like 4 years. So I'm not eating.
You still doing Weight Watchers?
Yeah, I've been on Weight Watchers too for this whole time too.
But you'll fluctuate. You'll go like back and forth. What I'm saying is that you're obviously not watching it all the time. And if you do, and you all of a sudden get on a strict thing like a vegan diet, when you're getting all these nutrients and all this fiber and all this water in your system, you're going to feel way better for sure. But a lot of it is because.
I've been eating a shitload of quinoa though. That's my new favorite thing.
Quinoa. Like I said, it's spelled funky.
But it's protein, or
it's what they say is the most complete plant-based protein.
There's a place called Swingers that makes the best. You just go there and get a side of it.
I make protein shakes. I put hemp protein in it. Hemp protein is pretty good.
Yeah.
But whey protein really is better.
That's what I was doing. I was doing 150 grams of the whey protein. But strangely enough, I developed a kidney stone shortly after that. I'd rather get shot next time.
Got to drink water, son.
Yeah, I'm drinking a lot more now.
Very important.
That's
even better than water. You ever have coconut water?
No.
Oh shit, son.
Oh, you got some coconut water up in here?
Shit, I got some coconut water.
It's the best coconut water. It's called O2.
Somebody brought it into jiu-jitsu class one night. It's called CO2.
C2O.
Instead of H2O.
Yeah, C2O. It's fucking awesome.
Wait.
Way better than that coconut one or whatever it's called.
Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. this thing still on? Because it just crashed.
Yeah, it's cool.
This coconut water is the fucking bomb diggity, folks, and it's super healthy for you. Coconut water, if you look at its like nutritional profile, it's way better for you than sports drinks. You know, it's like the best for you, like right after you get done working out.
Sweet.
It's delicious too.
It is good.
So you got to take care of your body, son. That's all we're talking about here. Fitness and shit.
I just started. You know, I'm 31 now.
By the way, I have to say this one more time because I get people complain when someone goes, "Oh, I'm a vegetarian." I go, "How many dicks you suck?" I'm not serious, okay? Fucking relax with the tweets. You ignorant asshole. Vegetarianism does not equal gay. If you're down with animal suffering and cruelty, it's just a joke, man.
Do you think Mr. Rogers was gay? Because I watched it the other day, and I felt like I was watching like myself getting raped or something. Like I was like, "Whoa, this creepy guy! Oh my god, he's so gay now."
Well, there's a lot of characters that like that, or like Mr. Wizard that couldn't be around today, like old guy doing experiments in the basement.
Mr. Rogers was probably one of those guys that was gay, but
he never did anything.
Didn't do anything because he didn't want to ruin his reputation.
He was like Dexter. He kept his.
He probably home and cried.
He probably had 3 secrets, you know, that haunted him every day.
Yeah,
you know, 3 secrets.
Fred Rogers is a pillar
jobs in the woods.
Yeah,
something probably happened.
Him and that, but whatever that drawing, the artist guy used to go on canoe trips with kids.
Did you know
Bob Ross?
Oh yeah, Bob Ross. Dude, you know who's...
Me and Bob Ross are going to go canoeing with the kids this weekend.
It's a beautiful day.
Are you battling impressions?
I like, you know who I love is Huell-Hauser. You know Huell-Hauser?
Yeah, sure,
Isn't he the best?
He's only an L.A. guy.
Yeah.
People in the rest of the country.
He's this local guy, and he's kind of he's a kind of a country bumpkin, but he's just as nice and as pleased with everything. You take him anywhere, he's like, "Wow, what's that?" They'll be like, "It's a water fountain." He'll, it's not even on the tour. Let's go. Oh, wow, what does it do? But he's on PBS. It's one of these shows you get so addicted to watching. It's such bad programming, you begin to love it, like really love it. And you just see this guy, and he goes all around California, kind of annoying people, but he's likable. You know what I mean? And I saw him one time. I lived in L.A., Hollywood for 10 years, and I was like starstruck. I was like, now there's a star, Huell-Hauser. Because you feel like you're the only one on earth watching his show.
Right. Well, other people watch it too, and it becomes entertaining. What is unentertaining and is terrible, becomes so terrible, becomes awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it becomes weird.
It's like watching a really bad newscast or something.
They don't know that it's the problem with like the guys that are like they're doing unintentional comedy. They don't know they're doing.
Yeah. They don't know they're being brilliant. Yeah.
So when you talk to them, that's when you get bummed out.
Oh yeah.
You start talking to them, and
because you're goofing on them.
But they don't want to be goofed on.
No.
I'm at the meeting with Oliver Stone.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Wow, it sure is neat.
Some dudes don't want to be that guy.
Yeah. Who else is like that? Like some people embrace it though. You know, like you take like a Hasselhoff or somebody, you know, or William Shatner. That's the coolest guy ever. You know what I mean? It's like I'm a douchebag, yes, but I'm a good one. You know, it's just got that. It's got that. I know I'm a douche feeling.
I don't think he's a douchebag.
No, he's not a douche.
So many people tugging at him. You have to act a certain way. You have to be able to distance yourself slightly from people.
He embraces the caricature he is. Yeah. You know what I mean?
There's a little of that, but he's also, you know, he's a fucking talented guy. He's been around a long goddamn time.
Dude, I worship
people probably fuck with him all day.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about Priceline.
Yeah, exactly. He was killer on the He's on the greatest Twilight Zone episode ever, Nightmare at 20,000 Feet.
How crazy is my man Charlie Sheen?
Oh, dude, I love it. And the story just keeps getting better.
My man Charlie Sheen. Oh. If you don't know the story, Charlie Sheen got arrested in a hotel in New York City, coked up, screaming nigger, while a prostitute was locked in his bathroom.
Yeah, a porn star prostitute.
A porn star prostitute.
Who wasn't even black.
Porn stars.
Yeah, she wasn't black.
Who wasn't even black. He just brought the word in.
He wanted to get her to fuck him, but she wouldn't do anything until she got her money, and he couldn't find his money. Now, this is a story that Radar Online was saying.
Right.
So he fucking starts punching holes in the wall, screaming nigger.
Yeah, I love that. When I heard that, I was like, it's getting so good now. It's like
it couldn't get any better.
Yeah, it really.
The only way it can get better is if this bitch had her iPhone out. Please release the video.
I'm almost looking at this like guy, like almost like he's untouchable. This guy's untouchable.
He's a bad motherfucker.
He's a bad dude.
He's got a raise.
There's something going on there because I don't know if you guys remember, like 6 months ago, there was something to do with like Mexican gangs and those guys.
Yeah, and what guys?
The cast of that show, the two dads and a kid, fat, ugly, nasty kid show.
Somebody was trying to. His ex-wife like hired a dude like Omar from The Wire or something to go
Right.
kill him. Like there was a
Right.
hit
Wait
put
a
out
minute.
on
Yeah.
Charlie Sheen?
Yeah.
no, on Ducky
Or
from
the
what's his
other
name?
guy from the show.
The other guy from the
Get
show.
the
Dude, that
fuck
show
outta here.
that show is straight up gangster. You go see a filming.
I
of
like
that.
how
I
you
bet
say
there's
straight up gangster and you do that with your hands.
But you
You're
go
the
to-
least gangster man
Yeah,
to
you
ever
go to-
exist.
You go to a filming of that. There's probably some sketchy shit there. You know, like there's probably like crazy gang.
And the worst thing is the
mafia
show is
shit.
really think
awful. The show is
No, it seems like
that
it.
show is horrible. I don't understand if Mad Men was riddled with shit like that. I'd be like, oh, that'd be pretty cool. But it's like this show is the worst show ever, and it gets the best ratings ever. Like it's the biggest. It's the highest rated show. But sitcom. There's only.
What is the big deal behind this show? What do people like about it?
You know, it's the one-liners, it's the quips, it's just, it appeals to families, I guess. I don't know. I mean,
It's kind of I watch it because
fast-paced.
every girl I date for some reason likes that show, so I have that shit on my DVR. So once in a while, that's one of my go to bed shows.
you're
where I
dating
put it-
stupid whores.
Yeah,
then.
I know. I am. But like I put it on before I go to bed, and so I end up like half watching it,
Sure.
and it's just fucking it's a sitcom.
It's
a
I only
sitcom.
watched one part of one episode. I was like, all right, let's see what this is all about.
Right.
I gave it like 15 seconds. And
Yeah.
what the fuck am I watching?
And I mean, as a comedian, you just can't.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you just can't. Honestly,
People don't know how hard it is to go from being a comedian to doing shitty comedy. Shitty comedy is hard. Doing a shitty sitcoms are brutality.
Yeah.
They're really hard to do.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
You've done sitcoms. What was your show again,
If
Fred?
you're on a shitty one, man, oof,
I was on a shit. Yeah, Frank TV. That was
that wasn't a shitty one, was it?
No, it was a decent. It was a decent sketch. It was small. I'll say it was small. So it was like definitely didn't. It wasn't like showing up to the set of a major network. It was TBS. But I had fun. It was enjoyable. But news radio. No, that's huge. Now what was that like showing?
It wasn't huge.
Did that become huge?
See,
after?
No, it became huge after. While we were on the air, I mean, we got to syndication,
Sure.
barely,
Right.
but we were supposed to get 100 episodes. We actually only did 98. But what happened with news radio is we just kept getting moved. We got moved 9 times over the
kidding.
course of 5 seasons. Yeah, we got moved like crazy. And you realize that a lot of like what puts a sitcom in certain places, like Paul Sims used to talk about it. There was the shit sandwich between Friends and there was something else that was on after Friends
Will
that was
and
good
Grace
too.
or something.
Something else that was
Yeah.
good, and they would always sandwich these shitty shows in those spots before that.
yeah.
And those shows would be huge. Like there was one called The Single Guy. There was this terrible show. Really nice guy.
yeah.
It was the star Jonathan something or another.
Yeah, I remember that.
Super nice guy, but the show was terrible. It just wasn't good. But meanwhile, it was getting giant monster ratings because it was
Jonathan
right after
Silverman?
Friends. Yes.
Yeah.
So people would watch it.
Yeah.
And, Sims would bitch and we would get moved around. And we were on like Tuesday and Sunday and Wednesday and Monday. We just got to get moved all over the place. And no one even, when the show got canceled, it partially was because Phil Hartman got killed. You know, and so the last season we did with Lovitz, and the last season for a couple reasons wasn't as good. It wasn't as good because we had a different executive producer because Paul Sims was working on this other thing called Overseas that I was the star of. It was another sitcom that they were trying to do on NBC, and part of it was because Phil was gone, and it was a totally different vibe.
Right.
So we had John Lovitz, who was very funny, but he was very different, and we had to kind of adjust, and everybody was all fucked up because. Just a few months ago, the dude was hanging out with us, and now he's murdered. And then we have to like do a whole episode where we have to like talk about how he died, and then this guy, the Lovitz character, gets introduced, and so that was part of the reason why it got canceled. But the other reason was it wasn't that successful. They would come in. We got moved around so many times. The writers would come in, like this guy. Lou Morton, who's hilarious, very, very funny writer. And this motherfucker got me addicted to Quake. He was the guy who got me addicted because he was really good at it. And we would battle back and forth at work because they had a whole Quake land, local area network set up there. He used to come in on the day of the ratings were released with whatever number we were, because like it became like a joke written on his T-shirt. And he came in one day and it said 88.
88.
We were 88th. Out of all the shows on TV, we were 88.
Wow. And especially in 97,
Yeah.
98, were
Something
there
like
even that many shows on
There
TV?
wasn't that many shows.
Yeah.
And so we were like, whoa,
Wow.
88th. Or we might have been 84th. It was in the 80s.
But I mean, the thing is, weren't you just glad to show up and be working in Hollywood?
Yes,
You know
for
what I mean?
sure. Definitely. Absolutely. What I'm saying is, it just, look, people would always bitch. People on the set would be like, this is fucking bullshit. Why does, Caroline in the City get to be on? They would call it Caroline in the Shitty. Did you see the new promo for Caroline in the Shitty? Fucking show's terrible. There was a lot of that going on. There was a lot of that going on like, on the set. But there was also a lot of people that were like, we're doing something really special. This is like a lot of fun.
Well, as a comedian, too, you already have kind of a more of a blue-collar work ethic that we have over actors. I think a lot.
Well,
of times. Not all
yes.
actors, but
I for sure appreciated it more because I never expected it.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, and
it's
that's
a different thing. Actors, they always grow up wanting to be in sitcoms. Me, I was in a sitcom like almost per chance.
Oh wow.
You know, the whole thing became. I never took acting classes.
I heard this story about. Did I hear it right that Ray Romano was?
He was the original.
He was the original.
My character.
Couldn't cut it.
Yeah, they fired him and then hired another actor to do it for the pilot. So that then the other actor did it for the pilot, and then they fired him and hired me.
Wow.
So I didn't really take Ray's part. I took the guy who stole Ray's part.
Isn't that something? How stories work out? Like just that close. It could have been some other.
Well,
where's this
they
when
just
they
decided to go a different way with it. They just, it wasn't that Ray wasn't good. It was like, Ray was older and Ray was more relaxed. And they just tried. They were trying to figure out. So the next guy was like the zany guy. He's like, what do I got over here?
Right.
And they're like, that didn't work either. And then I just got lucky. I just came in.
Had you taken a bunch of acting classes?
No, I've been on a shitty show though. I got a development deal with Fox, where it was with Disney actually, and then I was on this show called Hardball. This is how bad the show was. It was a baseball show. It was a sitcom, and it could have been hilarious because the guys who originally wrote it, this guy's named Jeff Martin and Kevin Curran, they were writers for The Simpsons, and they wrote for Married with Children. They were brilliant, and they wrote a brilliant pilot. The pilot was hilarious.
Yeah.
Jim Brewer was in the pilot too.
Oh, I love Jim Brewer.
Yeah, and Mike Starr. You might have seen him. He's in Goodfellas. He's been in a bunch of movies, and Bruce Greenwood, and it was a good cast, good Alexandra Wentworth. But the real problem was with the network and with they didn't want these guys, Jeff and Kevin, to be the producers of the show because they didn't think they knew how to run a show. So they brought in this other dude, and this other dude just started fucking hacking it up, taking scripts and just butchering them and just terrible jokes. And he would go and do coke on his yacht with this girl who was playing my girlfriend in this first episode.
Oh my God.
He became friends with this chick and would take her on his yacht, and they would write, and he would do blow and fuck her and come back with the worst scripts of all time. But when they would come back, like, she would have like more lines.
God, no.
It was great. And finally, it got to we filmed a few episodes with this guy, and he was so hated, and it was so the tension on the set was so bad that they decided to fire him. They got rid of him. They got rid of him, and they brought in another guy. And the other guy closed it out, but it was only 8 episodes, only 7 of them aired, and it was death. And when I was done with that, I was like, "Fuck acting! This is terrible. Acting. This is the shit you have to deal with." I was ready to go back to New York, but I fucked up and got a whole year lease on this apartment. I couldn't afford. I was ready to go back. I was like, I'm done. I'm a comedian, man.
Like,
fuck
you were that turned off.
Oh yeah, I was totally ready to go. And then all of a sudden, boom! I auditioned for News Radio, and I'm on it. I mean, literally like a month later, I'm on this new show, and I'm fucking working with Phil Hartman. So I go from never taking an acting class, never even thinking about doing acting, doing stand-up at fucking Jimmy's Comedy Alley in Queens, and then a week later, I'm in Hollywood, and 2 months later, I'm sitting across the table read from Phil Hartman going, what the fuck is going on here?
That's some cool shit.
It was bizarre. It was beyond bizarre.
Yeah, it's cool. You've lived like multiple lives, it seems like. Like you're accomplished in multiple arenas where it's like you did this, done with that, do this, done with that. It's like, I think that's the thing about life. You have to keep trying new shit. Like, there's so many things. Like, a lot of times I'll say I want to get into this, but like my life's over. I'm 31 and be like, why not? Why not get into that?
Do anything.
You know
how many times I contemplate playing professional pool? I stop and think about how much money would I have to squirrel away for a year to join the pro tour, and try to practice 8-10 hours a day and try to make a run at playing pool and just place. I just want to place in a tournament.
You got it in you, because that's the thing. It's like you get that feeling. It's like when you come and you do something like this, like in Hollywood, or accomplish yourself in a sport. And you become the elite of your company. It's like you want to do it again. You want to find something
different
that
things,
you can. It's like guys who become scratch golfers. Like, I think Justin Timberlake or somebody is almost like a scratch golfer at this point. Like, he's really good.
Just got obsessed with it.
Yeah, I'm like, he kind of should be.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah,
it's Musashi's quote. Once you understand the way broadly, you can see it in all things. That's one of my favorite quotes.
I like that.
And it's all about recognizing what it takes to really master something, really takes to get in tune with what is great about something.
The Buddha says, if you want to know how good you're doing at something, look back every 10 years. And that's another one. That's one I love.
But that takes 10 years to see your progress.
Yeah. Which he always means stop looking back at your progress and just keep thinking it right now.
Goddamn tricky Buddhists.
Yeah. God damn it.
Was Johnny Appleseed real, or is that just a fictional character?
He's real, and the story is bullshit.
What is the story?
The story is that he sprinkled seeds basically all throughout what was it, the western state, from across the when the Louisiana Purchase happened. I think he went just go sprinkling seeds like all American, like seeds.
What?
But they said something. They said I saw a thing about seeds, and they're like apples don't grow that way. These certain seeds don't grow in certain regions. The first one dies. You know, it's like there's a real maintenance. You don't just sprinkle. An apple tree is a hard fucking thing. It's almost like a baby being born. A lot of shit has to go right.
Really?
You know what I mean? Apple trees are hard to pull off, and they said that him just going around doing that, all it would create is like sour grape-sized apples. Like it just doesn't work that way. You got to cultivate. You got to know what you're doing.
So do you think he spent time to actually plant them properly, or he just didn't really do it and he was just trying to get attention?
I think he set up the one actual little farm for himself, but like I said, the second generations don't give off as good as the first, and you have to stick around and maintain that. They act like he's just sprinkled it along the countryside, wearing a pot on his head.
Maybe it was just his song to promote his apple farm that he did.
Like I think it's the legend is up there with like Paul Bunyan, pretty much. Watch Shelley Appleseed, his great granddaughter. You motherfucker!
Do you think that you would just get used to living like people lived back in those days?
Like
do you
Amish?
think? I mean, do people just get used to it? Or do you think it was like life sucked back then?
Like, did they know it? Were they like, what the fuck?
Yeah, well, like life is too fucking hard.
I think so. I think with those pioneers and the people who came out to settle the West, I mean, it's like big balls. You know, I give them big credit for that because it's like they came down to the soil in like North Dakota. Like you can't get through that shit. Good luck farming.
Imagine they got through that shit with horses.
And they were saying like, the number of people coming out were just dying in droves. But the ones they finally tackled it and got it going, you know, those are the ones who obviously survived and later thrived. But I wouldn't want to try that shit.
Crazy life.
There was a thing they did on National Geographic or something. It was a reality show, but it was basically like Survivor, but no prize to be won. They just threw you out here. You got to survive in Alaska.
I watched that.
I watched the whole thing. It was fucking great, dude. And it really talks about like dudes were getting hungry like in the first 6 hours. Like I can't do this shit.
Yeah.
And then when like even a real big like this cop dude, like he couldn't hack it after a while, but ladies were able to hack it. It was just they were killing squirrels with their bare hands to eat.
Yeah.
And they quickly adapted to that. Wouldn't you say? Like after the first week, all civility goes out the window. No more table manners.
I watched one of the first episodes only, but they couldn't find anything to kill. They killed a squirrel and it fell in a hole. So they shot it and it fell in a hole and they couldn't get to it.
Yeah, they couldn't get to it. And they were just
They
starving.
had no food. There was nothing.
Delirious.
Yeah.
Like you have to start training your body in this sick way to just take one morsel of something and maximize your shit. They'd get a kill finally and they'd make a stew because a stew will go further and you can transport a stew. Because that's the thing too. You got to bring your food with you. You know, if you kill something, they ate a porcupine.
Yeah,
it was the most disgusting looking thing when they field dressed this thing. Things spilled out of there I'd never seen in my life.
Porcupine.
A porcupine.
What's the show called again?
I don't remember.
It was something about Alaska. Just something.
I think I got it saved.
Yeah, it was good. I watched the whole thing. It was pretty damn good. And in the end, they were emaciated looking. They looked horrible.
Yeah, there's a guy we've talked about on the show. You ever go to that website, vbs.tv? Mm-mm. There's the Vice Guide to Travel. Is a whole series that they do online. It's great stuff. And one of them, they went to this guy. I think his name is Heinmo. It's a strange name, but this guy lives in like northeastern Alaska. He lives in like this area where there's only a few people have permission to still live up there, and he lives in this one-room cabin.
Oh, wow.
And he's been up there for 30 years. This guy literally never saw the towers fall, you know, and he can speak good English. He's a very intelligent guy.
Yeah.
And he lives his life just hunting and gathering, just following caribou around, shooting them. He has a couple cabins that he walks to. He has no car. He does everything on foot. He gets supplies dropped
I was
to
gonna
him.
ask, yeah.
He gets like bullets and I guess he must get some vegetables. I don't know what happens there.
Yeah.
I don't know if he gets canned vegetables, but he's not eating any vegetables on the show. All he's eating is caribou that he kills and fish that he catches. God. And that's what he does every day. Every day he's following caribou around, shooting them, but he's a very bright guy.
Right.
And when he's talking, he says that, you know, that men got away from the whole hunting and gathering thing. What is that? What is that?
Is that a fire alarm? Fire alarm?
I don't know what that is, man.
It's getting ready to stop.
Oh, it's a water thing. That was crazy. That was a pipe.
I thought it was a
The
caribou.
fuck kind of show is this?
Dude,
No, that's how ghetto this show is. My pipes are making crazy noises.
That's crazy.
You know what that is? That's the in-house vacuum cleaner. It's been fucking up lately.
He has these vacuum cleaners where the
you
whole
just plug
walls
it
are
in,
vacuum.
right?
Yeah, the whole house. Weird.
I've heard tale of those before. It was cool to actually see one. This house is the shit, by the
Thanks,
way,
man.
dude.
It's cool.
This is. Thank God you got that audition that time, huh? It all
Fear
worked
Factor
out.
money.
Yeah.
Well, so the reason why I was willing to do something like Fear Factor was after doing like a bad sitcom and then entertain the idea of doing another bad sitcom after news radio. I was like, I'd rather do something that's not funny at all.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather do what else can I do to get paid? I can do this, and you'll pay me.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this.
Right.
I can do that too.
I don't. As a comic, I don't watch comedy. I can't stand it. It won't make me laugh. I like drama and I like
Movies
sci-fi.
are good. I like The
movies.
Hangover.
Yeah.
Hangover was hilarious.
Movies are always good. They don't screw you over. They're not trying to fit in a laugh every minute and 10 seconds.
Right.
You know?
Right. They're trying to make a good story.
They can do a good story. And I like Galifianakis a lot. I think he's
Have you seen the new one?
no.
hilarious.
Is it good?
I heard Brody's
Due
awesome
date?
in it.
Brody,
Due
that's
date?
so great that Brody's
Is
in
it out? Is due date out?
Yeah, due date out. Steve Renner's Easy saw it, said it was really good.
Look, you can't go wrong with Galifianakis. He's just funny.
He's gonna be like make a real mark, like a
Oh,
Bill
he's gonna
Murray.
be
I
huge.
think
He's
I-
huge.
I
He's
said
already
that.
like that. The way people love him, he's already like
What about
that.
the whole stink though? That he.
I mean, Bill Murray obviously is a legend. But
Yeah,
Galifianakis
absolutely.
Is in when Bill Murray was coming up and he was in that vibe, you know, like when Stripes was. You remember Stripes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, when Stripes was coming out, man, Bill Murray was like anything he could say was funny.
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
would watch him. And Galifianakis is like right there.
He's
right
getting
now.
there. I watched it. You know, I never watched stand-up comedy, and I watched one night. I was watching Netflix. I was like, I'll check him out at the Purple Onion. And it was like I was genuinely laughing my
Yeah.
ass off.
He's very funny.
And as a performer, I watched. You know, it's a very precise, crafted thing that he does, and he's really good at it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To the point where I can respect it and be like, oh wow, because as a comedian, it's like a magician. It's like, oh, I know how he did
Right,
it.
right,
Oh, I see
right.
that. That's great. Good job. But I was literally laughing. I was like,
Who
God,
makes
that's
you
so
laugh
funny.
the most? Besides me, of
Guys
course.
like you, Brody. Obviously, you're
No.
friends. I still laugh.
Is it like Brody? He's probably the biggest unspoken treasure.
Brody
right?
probably
Don't you
he
think?
just gets to all of us, and the thing about Brody is you have to see him live. I think you and I talked about this. You have to see him in person to get the joke.
Yeah.
Because people who
have
just
to
see
feel it.
him online or something, they don't. There's something missing in the two-dimensional world. You have to see and feel and know the mannerisms and see that this is a character. But God damn it, is this character always being attended to? It's like
Okay,
shit,
hold on. I'm gonna put a stop to that. No, stop on its own.
He makes me laugh. Bill Burr makes me laugh a lot. Bill
Bill Burr's hilarious. He's always writing too.
I've heard his mention that he's the best, one of the best right now, and people are starting to say that. And it's like you get so knee deep in it, you don't even Caparulo's my best friend, and it's like I forget he's famous now. It's like it's
Right.
weird. It's like we go places and he gets mobbed. I'm like, wow.
Is that from the Chelsea Handler show?
Yeah, big time. That seemed to just put him through the roof, and now he's doing great on the road. He's happy. He just got engaged the other day.
Oh, that should work out well.
Yeah, in Hermosa Beach, he got engaged. And
Is she gonna let him play Xbox and?
yeah.
Come over here.
Yeah, we'll still play Madden, I'm sure, but we'll play online. But it's like, things make me laugh. That sometimes it's not even a person or a comedian; it's a dog. Dogs make me. My dog
Right,
makes me
but
laugh.
I mean, like with stand-ups, like do you like Patton Oswalt?
I do
Louis
off
Anderson?
and on.
You do off and on? Yeah.
When
He's one of my favorites, man.
The comedians of comedy tour. I like that a lot. I like because Galifianakis did some work on that one, and then. Who are the other nerds? Brian Posehn.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
I like Patton Oswalt. I do because he appeals to comedians. It's just sometimes he's just a little too.
No, I think he's comfortable.
Very
he's really
smart,
comfortable.
very brilliant.
what?
He did this bit. He did this bit that I fucking one of those. I wish I thought of that because I've often thought about it, but I've
Right.
never thought it was funny.
Right.
About how all those stores like on Melrose and stuff like you're like how do these places pay for their rent? They're
Right.
selling candles, you know.
right,
His
right.
rent's probably like $3,000. And there's this whole bit on that and fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
He just I think that was one he just made up that night.
You see the
It
kid
seemed-
who-
it felt
Well,
like
he's
it.
a writer. I mean, he's a real good writer.
You see the kid who
obviously.
ripped him off and was doing his
Yeah.
jokes? That was hilarious, dude. It was
Yeah.
like
well,
you're
two
not.
kids that ripped him off. One kid ripped him off during a commencement speech or some sort of a graduation speech. Right?
How can you do that?
He fucked up. And it was one that's online, man. It's like a fucking like.
Especially now, see, that's what the internet is doing. It's eradicating liars. It's getting rid of liars. At least there's a major reference point here. It's like, because remember, like when you were a kid, there'd be a kid in your 5th grade. My dad plays for the Raiders. It's like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't, but I can't really prove that wrong. But it's like now you can prove the person wrong on the spot.
There's some crazy liars out there, man. I remember one time I was at this club in Florida, and this guy goes, "Yeah, my boy's on the phone. My boy fought Chuck Liddell before, beat him back in '99." And it's like 99 or whatever the fuck the date was. So I get on the phone with this guy. I go, "What's up?" He goes, "Yeah, fought Chuck Liddell. Fought Chuck Liddell." And I go, "What happened?" I stopped him. I go, "What year was this?" And he tells me the year. I go, that didn't happen. I go, the only people Chuck's lost to at the time was Jeremy Horn, and he had just lost to Randy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
those are the only people he's lost to. What are you talking about, man? No, man. This guy just made something up.
Just
made
completely
some crazy story up about fighting Chuck Liddell. It was like totally artificial. He just made it up.
Don't you think they document something that important?
Yeah, it's just like how people come up to you and they're always like saying, "Dude, my friend used to hang out with you." There's just these stories that people tell people to get like.
I was partying with him in Vegas. You came back to the room. Dude, it was hilarious.
I found out
a lot of great jokes.
I found out exactly what this shit tastes like. The C2O water. Drink it and think of cereal milk.
Water.
Cereal milk.
That's
After Golden Grams.
It tastes like that. That's why
it's delicious.
Yeah,
it's healthy for you too. It's all real pure coconut
it's
water.
Delicious.
Right out of coconut.
That's some good shit. Where do you get that at?
Online.
Who's your dealer?
Sketchy website.
Some dude got it in L.A., but I don't know what store he got it from. And he brought it to jiu-jitsu and he was handing them out.
They actually sell them at the nutrition stores, and I just found out.
Do they?
Yeah, it's like pretty good. $2 a bottle.
We should be getting a cut from this.
I know. We should be
podcast.
This should be a sponsor.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, dude, you gotta get them. You gotta get free shit out of
Plus light and coconut water.
So I just realized talking to you about impressions that I've never practiced any of the impressions that I've done. I just do them, like with Joey Diaz or something like that. I just know I can do it, and I just do it.
Yeah.
Are you that way too? Like you hear someone talk?
Yeah, I think it's like you got to get out of your own way. You just let it filter in and come out
Sound
of you.
like that.
Because it's like you'll hear it if you try to scrutinize it, you'll really start to fuck it up. But
how do you practice it?
I'll listen to them on headphones, and if I don't hear my voice anymore, that means I've matched it.
Whoa!
What I mean? Yeah. It means I've matched it. Like the Morgan Freeman one I started working on in 8th grade.
Let me hear that.
Well, now hold on, Joe Rogan. Let me get to that. Let's see here. There's a fella named Morgan Freeman, and I started working on the impression when I was in the 8th grade. Yes, sir. I was about 14 years old, jerked off 7 times a day.
Dude, that is creepy.
And it took me forever. And what happened?
That's creepy.
And the
That's
way
really
I finally
good.
perfected it when I was like 22, I saw Ben Affleck on Dave Letterman, and he was doing a Morgan Freeman impression, but it was horrible. But he was doing one thing I wasn't doing right. It's that thing. It's on here. He was adding that, but everything else was wrong. And I married the two, and I was talking like Morgan Freeman all day. I was calling restaurants, be like, "I'd like to get a table for 2, please." And they'd be like, "Okay, Mr. Freeman." I was testing it out, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." So when I nail one, I've been working on a Tom Hanks for years, and I still can't get it. There's something, but he's one of those like Ice-T, like Morgan Freeman. Everybody knows who he is, but nobody does him, And, and it's somewhere in here I found that I can go back and forth with it, but it's
missing a little,
it's
you
missing.
get it.
I'm
You
game
get
show
it.
hosty with it right now, but it's like there's because there's World War II Tom Hanks who's very solemn and talks about World War II, but then there's I'm on Conan
It's
O'Brien.
almost like the shape of your head is wrong.
Right.
You can't make that noise.
I
think that is. I think that has a lot to do with impressions. Like, there's certain impressions that I can do that other people can't do.
Right.
I think it's the shape of my face.
There's ways
your
to
mouth, your jaw.
manipulate your throat. I mean, I can sound. You can talk like that.
Yes, but
Sound
there's- definitely.
You can contort your mouth like Biggie Smalls. I started working on that impression one time too, and I found out I could sound like a fat guy. But it's like you can contort your mouth.
Can you do Ralphie May?
Hey, he's a little high pitched. Hey man, I got something.
Joe Rogan.
man.
Yeah, Joe Rogan. Listen here. I went to this market the other day, Joe Rogan.
Much love, Ralphie, if you're listening. You know we love you.
He's like Cartman almost.
And the Obama.
Ralphie smokes more weed than any of us.
Oh, dude, did you hear the story about him getting caught at there?
Caught
That
in
was
Guam.
so brilliant. He's like, man, I went down to pet the dog.
My man is bringing weed across the
Guam.
world.
Yeah, that's great.
That's risky. Don't you know anybody there?
I would much rather try to find a connect there.
You can find a connect, man. Trust me.
Especially in Guam,
You're gonna
I
be
would
okay,
think, yeah.
dude. They're growing
Big
that
time.
shit like crazy out there.
Big time, and it probably grows well.
Yeah, it's a cash crop, son.
Get it.
#1 cash crop in Hawaii, and they're trying to eradicate it all the time. Today, by the way, Proposition 19. Today it all goes down.
How's it looking? Has anybody been checking their
score?
Huffington Post is
What's
keeping
the latest news? Is
the latest score.
52-7.
If it loses, it will mark how oppressed we truly are.
I don't
We're
think
oppressing
I don't think
ourselves.
it's going to pass. I don't think
it's
for a
gonna
second
pass.
it's going to pass.
Really?
No.
I think it's going to be like the gay vote. We all thought that was going to pass.
You know, and I'm just basing it on there hasn't even been advertising. There's not been some big push for it. It seems like it's definitely, you know, and then there's a lot of people against it. A lot of the growers, obviously, because who benefits during Prohibition?
That's the problem. The growers, a lot of the medical people are against it.
Right.
I don't know, man. I think it's evolution. I understand their position. I feel bad for doctors that have been prescribing weed. If it becomes legal, then all of a sudden, hey, where's my business?
Right.
I'm making all my money sticking my neck out there prescribing weed.
Right.
Now I got to go back to giving kids Band-Aids? What the fuck, man? You know,
Maybe
it's tough.
Maybe it'll lower the cost of health care because they all have to go be doctors again, and there's more doctors.
How does that benefit that doctor that just lost his job, Brian? This is illogical.
Yeah.
I think they just need to figure out another way to become a part of the system. Start selling it, man. Open up a fucking dispensary.
Yeah, and you know what's funny on the other side is cops are obviously they want it to be legal so they don't have to deal with this. I mean, it's everybody knows it should be. It's just political
Cops
suicide.
Don't give a fuck about potheads. They know potheads are harmless. They're worried about meth heads and fucking junkies and drunks. That's who cops are worried about. They're worried about violent people.
It just takes somebody to actually do something. And I don't think anybody did, and nobody's going to commit political suicide this year and come out. That's what we need was somebody huge, the president, somebody to say. But I understand why they can't. They just can't.
I don't know what happens when you get in office, but clearly someone sits you down and adjusts your agenda.
Yeah,
Obama, before he was in office, yes, I inhaled. Well, you could say it because it was the point. Go ahead.
Sure.
You doing it, Obama?
Well, it's time for weed. It's like pauses between every word I say, so the stupid people can understand me.
No, did you smoke pot in college, sir?
I did.
Did you inhale?
I took bong rips out of a homemade bong and I blew them into everybody on the floor's mouth. We got high. Suffice it to say.
He talked about it, openly.
And
when he was campaigning,
there is something. They set you down. It's like the Men in Black thing. They go,
something
forget your
happens.
agenda, man, because it is. It's a head. It's a figure. You're not. You're
I know,
really,
but who is pulling the strings then? Is there a one person?
Is there a committee? Is there a society?
It's like, man, if you just read about the Illuminati and listened to Alex Jones, you would know.
Yeah.
Who? There's got to be a one trackable.
It's got to come down. It's got to be wealth
or group.
It's definitely wealth.
Right. It's international bankers, right?
Because it's like, it's got to be international. Because back even America's founded, like Carnegie's and all them, they'd get together and be like, it's our country.
Dude, I'm reading this Max Taibbi article that's in Rolling Stone. God damn it.
Incoming.
Hold on. I'm going to stop that shit. I'll be right back. You guys talk amongst yourselves.
All right.
Let's not blow everyone's ears.
Talk amongst yourself.
Hey, so...
It went away.
Cool, let's turn this back
All
on now. So, yeah.
I'm getting hungry, dude.
Dude, I'm hungry. This coconut water is delicious.
Yeah.
You actually believe in crazy dream stuff.
Yeah.
We have talked about this before where he sat me down and was telling his theories. He reads all these books on, what kind of dreaming is that called again?
Lucid dreaming.
Lucid
Sorry
dreaming.
about that, ladies and gentlemen. I think I have a problem with my in-house vacuum cleaner unit. It's screaming. It's letting me know it's dying. What were we talking about before I took off? Because it was interesting.
Smoking, or the people who run the country, who runs the country.
So who the fuck do you think runs it?
It's not the voters.
What do you think happens when you get into office? Do you think they actually, Bill Hicks style, sit you down and show you an angle of the Kennedy assassination that no one's ever seen before? You sit in a room with that. What did he say? A bunch of smoky industrialists?
Yeah. You know what?
Questions? Yeah, well, what's my agenda?
Doesn't it seem like there kind of is? Oh, it's like, think about like the Skull and Bones at Yale, like these real upper echelon kind of societies that you can never belong to, and you're privy to information that nobody. Because
that's the most likely scenario. That it's these elite colleges, and they keep this group of people in power.
Right.
And if you talk about people that have been in the Skull and Bones from college, I mean, it was John Kerry, it was Bush. It was, there's been a bunch of different people.
They're groomed for this from the get go, and it's like, Obama really wasn't, but was. If you were going to Harvard, it's not out of the question to become president.
Right.
There's a 7% acceptance rate there. It's not,
I think everybody who becomes president always wanted to be president.
Absolutely. It didn't just occur to you someday.
It's the ultimate political rock star. That's what it is.
Even John Kerry was doing that. That's why he went to Vietnam. I mean, at least he went, but that's why he went. He
went so he could be president.
So I can be a hero and get pictures taken. Yeah,
God
absolutely.
damn.
Yeah.
How ruthless is that? You're
And-
willing
and
to go to
credit to
war
that,
so you
yeah.
can say, I am a veteran.
Yeah.
I fought for my country.
Right.
Everybody claps and cheers.
Yeah, he didn't need to go. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, he was definitely in college at the time.
And then
He
these
didn't need
dudes
to go.
like Bush are like, well, oh, my back hurts. I gotta
Right.
fucking. I think that's smart, man. As I've gotten older, my opinion of Bush has changed over and over.
I
it
have
keeps
a-
changing. I used to think that Bush was this fucking monster and this ignorant piece of shit
Right.
that's thrust into this scenario to kind of lower our standards and make everybody think that mediocre is good,
Right.
and you can invent words and it's okay to talk about God.
Right.
And then I realized that this is just a dude with a job.
You know what?
Well, you see the relationship with Dick Cheney and
Yeah.
him?
I don't think. Number one, I think he's probably one of the most fun of all presidents you can hang out with.
Dude, you know when my opinion of him changed? When that guy threw his shoes at him in Iraq.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
That's when I started looking at him. When he ducked the shoe and smiled, and
Yeah.
he ducked the shoe and smiled
Yeah,
again.
it's like,
I'm like, this ain't no ruthless murderer. This
Right.
is some fucking dude who's just got a job.
And I never thought that of him. And the same thing that bothers me when people shit on Obama for saying like, "Oh, he reads a teleprompter." You know how many speeches he gives a day? A
Yeah,
lot.
that is the
That's
dumbest
so
thing.
asinine.
Oh, he's got notes.
And it's
What
the
the
same
fuck?
thing-
He's prepared.
But it's
You're upset that he's prepared. He wants to do a good
Yeah,
job.
and it's the same thing when people say that George W. Bush is dumb. I can promise you this: he would bury me in a political debate. He would
he
know
wouldn't.
shit.
No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't.
Maybe not about policy.
No, but not
say-
about anything. Stop it.
You don't
Listen,
think?
you're 100
Really?
times smarter than that guy.
Really?
Yes, for sure. That
You don't
guy
think
was
something
brought
rubbed off?
in. He was brought in to represent the common folk. The same way
Sure.
they enabled the conservatives to really gain control of this country by embracing the Christian right.
Right.
When the Reagan administration came in line,
Yeah.
that was the first time when they really went out of their way to embrace religion. And,
Oh, yeah,
and go
yeah.
go
Oh,
for
yeah.
the Christians.
Yeah.
Get the really zealot
Yeah,
Christians.
Nixon was
behind.
no religious guy. They
No,
never did that before.
They never did that
They
before.
were very corporate.
But they
no.
realized, like, shit, the Moonies are doing this. All these other motherfuckers are doing this.
Yeah.
They're making millions of dollars from these morons.
Yeah.
Let's just tap into this shit,
Yeah.
and we'll use this. This is going to be a big part of our platform. This
Yeah.
will separate us from everybody else, make us more righteous.
It's amazing, especially with Reagan. It's like the conservatives always talk about too. It's like, oh, Hollywood liberals and their actors and all that. It's like the ones they champion the most are actors. Ronald Reagan, Fred Thompson. And it's like
It's so crazy that you would allow a guy who's an expert at lying and pretending to be the guy who's supposed to tell you the truth.
and a divorcee to
That's
boot.
that's a chick. That's a chicken being guarded by wolves. That's the most ridiculous thing ever. You're getting a guy who's the best faker ever,
Yeah.
and he's the one who's going to deliver the truth. What?
I shot a thing recently at the Republican headquarters here, and it was amazing to be in there. And it's all pictures of Ronald Reagan as far as the eyes can see, which is understandable. But I'm just like, don't you guys remember Bush 41 and Bush 43? They both were presidents too. There no pictures at all. They're like, no.
Brian, go on YouTube and find Ronald Reagan's speech where he talks about aliens.
Have you ever
You know
been to
that
the
speech?
I've
No.
heard.
That is one of the trippiest speeches a president has ever given to people.
Talking about the intergalactic.
He talked about how quickly we would abandon all of our troubles with each other if we were being attacked by aliens from another planet.
oh wow.
The fucking president was talking about this.
Jesus.
I mean, he was making a point clearly that we would be united as one.
You think we would? You think
as
we
one
would?
group? For sure we would.
Or you think we'd go after each other?
No, we would not. We would not. If there was aliens, the only problem is if the aliens got to some douchebags. I don't want to mention any names in some douchebag countries.
Right.
I'm like, listen, just come with us. We'll give you fucking flying saucers. Just sell out these other cunts.
Right.
And then they would go over and say, listen, we've made peace with the aliens. The aliens are friends. We just come over here. We'll show you where they are. And boom, you're in a cage.
They're definitely hostile if they're coming.
Maybe. Well, we are.
We're hostile.
We're hostile to everything, and like we talked about the East Coast and the West Coast and survival of the
Right.
fittest, and just the massive change that's happened in this country. It's all been because of negative shit.
Yeah.
All this massive change, a lot of it is because of negativity.
I feel like something in our lifetime is going to happen. Like Bigfoot's going to get found. Like something cool like that. Some
I hope
legend,
so, right?
Some legend is
We
going to
would
get
like it.
dispelled, or some legend is going to get proven true.
Well, there's the craziest theory about your life is that your life really what it actually is as the world gets crazier and as more chaos ensues and you worry about extinction, you worry about some sort of a cataclysmic disaster that wipes out the race. What you're really realizing is that you're dying.
Yeah.
And that your own world, this universe that you have created, is slowly starting to fall apart at the seams because your life is starting to end. And this whole life of history and space, it's all an illusion. And it's all something that's been created by your imagination. And
Wow.
as it plays out, as it becomes more and more ridiculous and catastrophic and as it ends, That's how your life ends.
Wow, that's an interesting point to think of it that way.
It's
like
just
that.
as possible as you are one being and there's a billion other beings and they're all in this one rock and they're all in this one galaxy and they're all. I mean, that's crazy as it's in and of itself. It's all crazy.
It makes sense, and it makes you just realize sometimes too, just the silliness. Like sometimes you almost just want to sit down and just laugh at the silly shit that we do as human beings. It's like, oh my god, look at why do I care?
Yeah.
Like I can detach myself from something really quickly through that, and that's what kind of like Buddhism was always about, like just detaching from it, not giving a shit. You know what I mean? It's like if it doesn't affect you, like death does not scare me. It's like, yeah, it's gonna come.
Suffering fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Suffering sucks. Being injured sucks. Being in pain sucks. But yeah, death is like sleep, right?
Losing someone sucks.
Yeah, losing someone sucks.
All that
Pain
sucks.
sucks.
But it's like everybody's biggest fear is death, and it's like if it ain't gonna, and even if it is your biggest fear and it happens, then what? But then what happens?
I always talk about how one of the trippiest things in this life is that everyone likes to sleep, but no one wants to die.
Oh, yeah.
When you're looking forward to going away. You're looking forward to shutting off.
Right. Right.
You're looking forward to the relief that you get from turning your body off and recovering.
Right.
That's some pretty crazy shit, man.
Yeah, dude. It's the same kind of effect that the DMTs release during dream state. That
Supposedly,
when you die, right?
It's all anecdotal evidence, but that's what they believe happens. But all I know is I don't give a fuck about. I love it. I love going to sleep. Here we go. I don't think about the fact that I'm going to disappear for 8 hours and I'm just going to trust that the world doesn't fall apart at the seams and explode while I'm unconscious.
It'd be cool to be able to hibernate.
Dude, bears don't really hibernate. You know that?
I heard
They're always
it's
still
just a
semi-conscious.
blissful kind of just relaxation.
Yeah, they just don't do much. They just kind of like go, fuck, this sucks.
Yeah, I guess so.
But they can still get up and fuck you up, man.
Yeah, because there are bear attacks in the winter.
Yeah, don't get crazy, man.
Yeah,
the scary thing about the bear attacks in the winter is most of the time it's bears trying to eat you because they're starving to death.
Yeah.
That's how Grizzly Man died. That crazy asshole that was living up in Alaska with all those bears.
Yeah, you heard the tape?
Have you seen the video? I haven't heard the
tape?
tape. The death tape. There's a death tape out?
Isn't there a death tape?
No,
or
I don't think they can. There's not one
They
yet.
wanted to get it, but it was what it was is the camera was running, but it was only audio.
Right.
And Werner Herzog, the director, listens to it on camera. You see him listening to it.
Oh, that's what they've been showing.
But they don't actually play it at all. It was like
wife
6
took it.
minutes long, man.
Bear, dude. They showed that guy on that I Survived who got basically eaten and mauled by a bear and survived it. The bear was shitting on him, peeing on him, like treating him like his kill. It was so nasty.
Oh, that's so scary. It is. How did he get out of that?
There was a threat to
He just got sick of it.
Play that Ronald Reagan shit.
Yeah,
Let me
let's
hear
see
this.
it.
this world.
Rewind it from the beginning.
Other species.
Rewind it, Brian.
Suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species from another planet outside in the universe. We'd forget all the little local differences that we have between our countries.
The United Nations.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Wow.
So true. Space is filled with warriors.
Yeah.
Just flying to other countries, jacking people.
I'd like to think that we galvanize and ante up and all get together, like in signs.
Do you think so? Do you think, well, I think we would to attack the aliens, but do you think that any species ever gets to a point where it doesn't fuck with the weaker species?
It's hard to think that a mass collectiveness of fight or flight would happen. I think most would fly. Most people would just go hide and be scared.
No. What I'm saying is, do you think that alien life in all galaxies and all wherever it exists, intelligent life, do you think it always fucks with whatever's weaker than it? Does that just help things become strong?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's nature, right? That's just dominance, survival.
So if they
of the
came here,
fittest
they would
leading
have
up.
to fuck with us.
They would have to fuck with us. Now, the thing I don't quite understand is why everybody gives them credit for being so smart if they came here.
Because they can come
They
here.
can get here, but
Yeah.
what if we can get to where they're at?
Well, we can't.
We're getting closer.
We are getting closer. But
More
by the
water
time
on the
we
moon.
Can, but yeah, they found water.
They found more water.
Yeah,
A lot
It's
more than they
interesting.
thought. That
Yeah,
is.
there's also the idea that they could use that as like the moon as a refueling station and set
Yeah.
up something up there, and then use that like as a launch because it's 260,000 miles out and it doesn't have the same kind of gravity.
Right.
So they could start launching shit from the moon. But you have to prove to me that you can survive in deep space for a long period of time, and that people are going to be willing to take that chance.
Yeah.
There's like the Mars project,
Right.
And there's another thing that they've been concentrating on this idea of a 100-year spaceship. a spaceship that can exist and has enough fuel to run 100 years.
Oh,
people
yeah.
can survive to colonize the galaxy. That's like a project that's currently in development.
Dude, that kind of stuff, like,
Fuck, man.
that's some deep shit. Like, if they really
100 years in
would
a
suck.
spaceship that's possible?
Yeah, but that would suck, like being on the 100-year spaceship, and then like a couple years later, they made like the 200-year spaceship, and be like, man, I want to be on the 200-year spaceship so my kids could live longer too.
Or you have a change of thought.
Well, I think you have 100 years to get somewhere, and if you can't get there in 100 years, you're fucked. But the thing is, how do they keep enough food? How big is this goddamn spaceship? Are they growing their own food like Battlestar Galactica?
Yeah, you'd have to do something.
You'd have
like
to grow
that.
your own food, and what kind of power would you be able to use? Nuclear power?
You'd have to use nuclear power.
How the fuck else could you? What if everybody got radiation sickness and shit?
Or you just
by
blow
the
up
time
the-
you got there,
Who are
was
you
all
communicating with?
mutants and shit, and three-eyed motherfuckers with 6 arms and shit. And everybody was a mutant from all the radiation because they had never done long-term exposure studies. They had we didn't have to take a chance.
I'd sign up for that shit.
Would you?
Yeah. I always think when people think that maybe if this is the last generation, or if the Mayan calendar proves true or something like that, I feel pretty damn honored to be on the last part of the last generation.
Again, that could just be the end of your life, man.
Yeah, exactly. I manufactured. So does that mean that you're a character in my life?
Seems like it. Through your eyes, I'm a character.
Or
in
am
your
I
life.
in yours?
Well, maybe we're all both. Maybe it's both. Maybe it's not, maybe there's no tangibility to life. Maybe it's ethereal. Maybe it exists in both ways.
Right.
Maybe you're just a part of my imagination, and I'm a part of yours.
Like, that'd be crazy if you made up all this, the earth, the atmosphere, you made it all
It's not
up.
that you made it up; that it almost exists as a part of your program.
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier, lucid dreaming, like the ability to wake up during your dreams.
You do that, right?
I've done it. I can't say I do it often. It's hard.
I've only done it once or twice by accident, and because I saw a movie where a guy had a technique where in real life, every time he'd walk through a door, he would
Turn
knock
the
on the
light.
door.
Oh, yeah.
He would knock on the door and go, "Am I dreaming?"
Yeah, that's the trick to
I
doing
did it once in a dream.
That Dr. Stephen Burge is the one. I read all these books about it quite by accident one day, but I started reading it. I was fascinated because he did it at Stanford and taught all these kids to do it to the point where they were so good at it, they were developing skills in their dreams. They could do it at will. It's basically like laying down in bed and saying, "Here's what I'm going to dream about tonight."
Right.
It's like a meditation practice. You can do it two ways. You can wake yourself up in a dream, or you can just enter it straight in, and that takes extreme concentration, like
Right.
focus. But in it, it's like you start to realize how fascinating your brain is because you'll completely reproduce something to a T. I fucking made that. That's my thought. I'm walking
And how many
around.
times have you done this?
I've done it probably like 5 times in my life. It's hard, and the problem is, it's like if you smoke pot, you don't get true REM sleep like a lot of people.
Don't?
You don't seem to. You don't have potheads. Don't seem to remember dreams as well. Some are different. Maybe it's a different kind you're smoking.
Is that true?
If you inhibit your brain at all with alcohol, anything, you're gonna
but I
have a
don't
harder
think- I
time
don't think
dreaming.
Pot stops me from dreaming.
Google that. See if pot kills dreaming. But I don't know. But I know that the times the best time to have them, they say, is in the morning. Wake yourself up like at 6 in the morning and go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Like
And
Tom,
that's when you get 'em?
That's when you can get them. For the novice, they say, and I've only had a few, but they're amazing. It's like you manufacture this world. You can fly. The thing that you tend to do, which I did, is you go around punching people because you can't. It's just amazing. But your brain, it's as real as you and I are right now. And if you there's focus and techniques thing like you can use on YouTube and stuff. They'll show you how to do it.
Well, I should explain what I was talking about before. Just
The knock on the
clarify.
door, yeah.
The guy said, knock on the door in real life when you're walking through your house. Knock on the door and go, "Am I dreaming?"
Right.
And then obviously you walk through it. You're not dreaming, but you feel the knock, and that's how you know you're not dreaming.
Right.
Well, I did this for a couple days,
Right.
and then I was in a dream,
Yeah.
and I went, "Am I dreaming?" Oh my God, I'm dreaming.
Right.
My hand just went right through the door.
Right.
I was like, whoa. And so then I opened up the door, and the door was like the edge of a cliff.
Yeah.
And there was like clouds and shit, and I just
wow.
started flying.
Wow, isn't that the shit?
The dopest
Now
fucking
think
thing.
if you
But
could
it only
harness that.
lasted for like 30 seconds, and because I was going, holy
Yeah.
shit, I can't believe I'm dreaming and
Yeah.
I'm flying. How am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm awake.
They say that that's what happens the first time is you're so overwhelmed by it. You're
I
like,
shot my load
oh
in my
God.
pants.
Yeah,
That's what I did.
You're just like,
I didn't even get my pants off. I shot my load. That's what happened. I was like, we're really going to have sex?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
But it's like if you practice it enough, it's just like meditation. You can get good at it. Apparently, I just forget
Yes.
to practice it because I just crash half the time.
Well, you asked me about the isolation tank. That's what
Yeah.
you got to look into.
Oh,
Fuck all
I'm
that
dying
lucid
to,
dreaming.
yeah.
Because the isolation tank is lucid dreaming in 10 minutes, guaranteed every
Yeah,
time.
right.
Guaranteed every time you're going to go somewhere.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
man.
the more you relax, the more you get good at it, and the more you get good at it, the deeper you can go, and the
Yeah.
weirder things get.
My dad always told me about it as a kid. He did it a lot in the Air Force.
Where do you
tried a lot
live?
of it.
What part of LA?
Where
You don't have to say because
Studio City.
You didn't have to say, man.
That's right.
There's a place in Burbank. It's called Soothing Solutions. It's really good, and they have these tanks, and you rent them by the hour, and you get. It's totally worth it, man.
So
just try it.
It's the same temperature as your body, so you can't feel your body, right?
Yep, you don't feel your body. You just feel the water. When you get into it, and the water's filled with 800 pounds of salt, so you float.
All right.
And then once you relax, you're floating in that water, and you don't hear anything, you don't see anything, you have no sensory input. There's another place in Venice called the Float Lab that's awesome.
Oh, wow.
He's the guy who built my latest tank. He's the state-of-the-art guy. If you go to floatlab.com, he's got like all his lab, like he's got all of his tanks and the design. Like it's all stainless steel and shit. His stuff is like real high-tech, like top-of-the-line stuff.
Oh, wow.
It's basically the same amount of money as the other tanks on the market.
Right.
He charges the same amount, but they're fucking infinitely superior. They're amazing.
How long can you stay in those?
I go in there for hours.
Really?
Hours, yeah.
That's just like extreme meditation, isn't it?
It's
just
space travel, dude. I have a spaceship, and the things that I've seen, the shit that I see on a regular basis in there, most people don't ever experience in their whole life, and I experience it several times a week.
Which the cool thing is, because the body, if you're not physically there, it's still a real experience. You know what I mean? It's still your mind
is still learning from the experience. Yes.
As if it were real.
Yes, because you're untethered from your body. So your body, and you don't get any input from your body, so your mind is free to just explore any idea and manifest and visualize these ideas.
Right.
You know, your imagination, when it's not harnessed or not like being controlled by the body, you know, or being hampered down by the body, your imagination like creates worlds.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we don't fucking know exactly what thinking and imagination truly is.
Yeah, we're not tapped into
what is imagination? The ability to create in your mind. I mean, that seems to me to be some sort of a driving force in the universe. If you look at what the idea of imagination, the idea of creation, it manifests itself in a bunch of different things. It manifests itself in art, and it manifests itself in inventions, and it manifests as things that improve your life and keep people healthy and keep people alive longer. So they figure things out more, so they come up with better ideas. These are all products of the imagination. Everything from science to vitamins. These are products of someone went, I think I can get that shit out of there and put it in a pill. That's the imagination. That's the mind trying to be curious and figure this shit out. I mean, it's like a driving force of the universe.
And it's kind of like an all ubiquitous force too, because it's like sometimes inventions are being thought of at the same time.
Yeah, sure.
You know, like the Wright brothers. You know, they were working on a thing, but there was that guy over in England who had his thing he was working on, and they were racing each other. I mean, flight was inevitable. You knew it was coming.
Perfect example was with you saying earlier that cell phones, if you had them in the past, people would think of them like you were a witch. I've said that so many times. It's a perfect example. But it's two people looking at something, both of them are going, well, what the fuck is going on here?
Right.
And then both people come to some sort of a same conclusion. When they figured out radio, it was the same thing. There was a bunch of people that figured out the radio. It was Marconi. There was a bunch of different guys that were working on the same situation. And then every now and then you get a guy like Nikola Tesla that's so fucking far out there. No one thought of any of the shit that he came up with. And you look at his stuff, you're like, what the fuck is this dude on?
That and Da Vinci. They had Da Vinci up at the Getty, and I went and looked at his scribblings, just like he literally like the, the helicopter, all that shit. Like the guy,
all kinds of machines.
The guy was so bloody genius, brilliant. Like his sketches were just like, I cannot believe somebody was thinking this advanced.
Dude, but this wasn't even like the 1400s. Somebody made a thread about it on the Rogan board, saying, "What was it? Could you imagine?" This was the guy said, "If you lived in a world where everyone else had Down syndrome." And he was like, "That's what it must have been like to be Da Vinci."
Yeah.
He was living in the 1400s, creating helicopters and all these machines, and bisecting the human body, and diagramming it to a T.
And your neighbor's just some retard, just like, "What saith you, sir?"
Yeah, he's fucking his sheep, and
he's probably one of those guys like, I can't believe it's the fucking 1400s. I cannot wait. I'm not going to be
He's
here.
probably a time traveler.
Yeah, big time, dude. I think there are time. I think there is going to be time traveling, dude. We can do that shit.
Yes, there will be, but there hasn't been. That's what.
No, there hasn't been. And then when it does happen, it's like I said, it's going to make everything null and void.
It's going to break the whole package.
Did you know they filmed Back to the Future? They filmed like half the movie with Eric Stoltz as the role of Marty, and they just weren't feeling it, so they had to go back and refilm the whole movie from the start.
They were a month
with Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, with Michael J. Fox.
They were a month in with Stoltz,
and they just released recently because they just came out on DVD.
Yeah, it's on the DVD set. I've seen it before because I remember seeing the Eric Stoltz footage and just that ain't right.
No, it's not right.
It's not right. It's just not good.
Rocky Dennis is Back to the Future.
Eric Stoltz. That's probably where it all fell apart for him.
And you know what? That's the thing. It's like, what do you do after
good
that?
in
Some
Pulp-
kind of Wonderful, and then bit parts here and there.
Pulp Fiction was the best.
Pulp
ever.
Fiction was the apex of his career.
Was he in Killing Zoe?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite movies.
That's a good goddamn
Live
movie.
in Nikita too. Have
He
you
was
ever
a
seen
good
that?
actor.
Was he?
There was guys like him, like Matt Modine. Like, what happened to those guys? Like this,
Matt Modine, Matthew Modine. What happened to that guy?
Matthew
Vision
Modine.
Quest.
Yeah, that guy was awesome.
Vision Quest is a great goddamn movie.
Yeah, dude, he's gonna wrestle for state. He's got the heat suit on that are banned now. It's a good fucking movie.
That's a good fucking movie.
I love Matt Modine
And that the hot chick, what the fuck was her name in that movie?
Oh,
God
yeah.
damn, that
The
bitch is
hair.
pretty.
God, she was.
What is her
lovely.
name?
Who was in Vision Quest?
Jennifer Connelly?
1986.
It's not Diane Lane, was it? No.
I don't think that was Diane Lane.
Look it up. Can you IMDb it?
Should be Vision Quest, like
See, this is the beauty of the internet,
asshole.
man. This is the
Everything
No,
extra.
Brian, cast.
Cast
Everything he
assholes.
writes asshole in everything, every quest.
really.
Yeah. Every time he does an internet search, he'll add finger butthole.
Just
You
to
know,
liven
Freddy
it up a
Just to
little
see
bit.
what the photos
Finger,
are. See if Jennifer
butthole.
Connelly has an asshole.
Who is the chick?
I'm still looking. Linda Florentino.
Damn. Nobody heard of her anymore.
Linda Fiorentino.
She was hot as fuck.
Yeah.
Do you remember how pretty she was?
She was. Remember Phoebe Cates? She was hot. And
Phoebe Cates, the fat
Fast
scene
Times.
when the dude was in the bathroom
Yeah.
fapping,
Yeah.
and she walked in, caught him with his dick in his hand.
She just kind of went away too.
Yeah. Well, she got pregnant, I think, and had some
Well,
kids.
she's married to the actor. Not Greg Kinnear, but the other one is kind of like him.
Jonathan
Kevin
Taylor
Kline.
Thomas.
Yeah.
I think she's married to Kevin Kline.
Kevin
Did
Kline?
you just say Jonathan Taylor Thomas?
Oh, Kevin Kline. I thought
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a different Kevin. Shit. We're talking
Oh, wow.
Hollywood. God damn it. What?
What? She's still
Linda
knockout.
Fiorentino?
Yeah, she's
She's
still,
still?
a knockout. Yeah.
So
Well,
recent?
she kind
Is that recent?
She kind of looks like she got smushed against a wall on her IMDb. See how like it looks like she just got. I hope she didn't have breast
She's
cancer.
still pretty as fuck.
Yeah.
That would suck.
Whatever
It's
happened
a
to
tough life.
Laura Flynn Boyle? She used to hang out all the
She
time.
weighs 18 pounds.
Gosh, she was crazy.
I saw her in a photo. She was
Yeah.
walking on the beach, and she looked like she was from Kenya.
I saw
Like
her-
she was a stick figure.
I saw her maybe a couple years ago, and she just married some guy. And she's like, "This is my new husband." And this poor guy, just like a regular fellow out of Texas, like an accountant, like has no idea. It's like,
Right.
of course, he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna marry a movie star." Sure, it's
She's
like,
a good
oh,
woman, just trying to keep it together.
Yeah. Oh man.
I've seen those before. There's nothing sadder than a dude who's on a ride he doesn't understand.
So true. It's so
Some
true.
regular civilian who winds up marrying some crazy movie star used to fuck Jack Nicholson.
Good old decent Texas
Bitch.
fella too. It's
Good luck.
Oh, I know.
Good luck with all your fucking country logic, stupid. This shit ain't gonna work
I'll
out.
change him. No, you
What has
won't.
been the weirdest thing about coming here and starting out, doing all the working for the Comedy Store and doing all that shit, and then eventually winding up on television, starting to make money? What's been the weirdest part about it to you?
I think it's the weirdest part is for me. It's like the distance put in between some of your peers that you started with, because there's this idea that comedy's like freshman football. I've been at it long enough. I should get my shot, but it's
Yeah.
fucking bullshit. Some guys just haven't
There's a
reconciled with
resentment.
themselves that you're not good. There's you're
There's a
just
resentment among some guys that don't become successful about people who are.
And it's really something sad too, because it's one of these things where it's like, we started off 10 years ago, a bunch of us together, me, Caparulo, Renazizi, and it worked for some of us, and for some it didn't. And it doesn't mean that it's owed to you, because like I said, it's like it's really hard. Even if you're really good, it's really hard. And you're not Hollywood doesn't owe anybody anything.
No.
Not a damn thing. And it didn't ask you to come here, and it doesn't tell you when to leave, but you got to know. There's some people, like, you'll get it at the Comedy Store, like guys will be like, "Oh man, screw the store, I don't get spots there." But it's like, tell me the other clubs that are giving you spots. They can never name one. And if they do, it's some hole in the wall.
Yeah.
But if it's like, comedy's the most justified art form, and there's enough, the audience is right there to tell you whether you're any good at it.
When I lived in Boston, it was shocking when guys would go somewhere and like get sitcoms or be in movies.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the local headliners would go? He's a fucking middle act. This guy's a middle act and he's in a movie. Like to them, it's like they didn't get theirs. Like,
Right.
that was a big attitude amongst Boston guys,
Oh, I'm
especially
sure.
after Stephen Wright hit.
Oh, yeah.
There's a great documentary about Boston. I forget what it's called. It's fucking shit. Boston comedy. We look up documentary on
big
Boston
scene.
comedy.
It was
Boston.
big
Before
scene.
the laughter dies. I don't know what the fuck his name. Boston
Asshole.
comedy
What happened to the
movie.
scene there? It's
It was a fantastic scene, but the problem was all the headliners that were the main part of the movement in like the 70s and the 80s, especially the 80s. All the guys who were like literally the most talented comedians in the country.
Right.
They stayed in Boston and they just burnt out. They did coke and they
right,
fucking partied and they all owed the IRS $1 million and they were fucking savages. And they didn't write a lot of new material, but back then, in those days, I would put them up against any comic ever.
That's what I've heard before.
I would put Don Gavin up against any comic I've ever seen ever, as far as craftsmanship, skill, delivery, timing, confidence, passion. And not even passion, I should say. Just his charisma on stage, his ability to just get you to laugh at just the perfectly timed joke. Don Gavin was a killer.
They don't like to leave the neighborhood.
Well, they got rich there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when you're making, several $1,000s a week doing comedy in Boston, and all of a sudden you're going to go on the road and you're going to make 1/4 that, and people are going to not come out to see you. You know, you're doing the Punchline Atlanta.
Yeah.
They don't know who the fuck you are. So there's half full crowds, and they don't care about Boston, so they don't want to hear all your Boston jokes, which are your best jokes.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of guys that have all this Boston centric material in Boston, and they will crush with it. Crush with it. But if you go to Virginia, they don't give a fuck about Boston. They don't want to talk about
Dennis
it.
Leary in that scene? Like, who came out of
Yeah,
there?
he was in the scene. He kind of got out of the scene pretty quick, though. He got out of the scene with his the MTV shit, and then with his first special, where he got all the comparisons to Hicks.
Sure.
You know, where everybody's going stealing Hicks material.
Yeah, I've seen those different ones in their entirety.
Yeah.
They're interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, pretty obvious.
Real obvious.
Yeah, he was a hack from the beginning.
It's really sad. It's like,
But he's a guy that just was real super ambitious, just wanted to make it, and this was his thing. He found this thing. He crafted this character, and then all of a sudden, he needed some material to go along with it, so he just kind of copied whatever other people said that was cool and reworked it. It was very obvious.
I see that happen with some guys, especially who have been in it just for a few short years, and they'll get an opportunity. I'll see those guys do that just to survive.
It's one of the biggest problems with a guy like Manstelia, and there's a few other guys in town. You know who they are.
Yeah.
And there's a few guys that are doing well, and they're doing well by doing just that. And it's blatantly obvious to young kids coming up.
Right.
So instead of like when I started out in Boston, I mean, you were like ostracized if you were a thief. If you were a hack, you were pointed. And there was mistakes.
Sure.
And sometimes people come up with jokes they don't even know that somebody else said it. I've seen it before.
Yeah, happens
I've
all
done
the
it
time.
myself. There's mistakes, and then there's people forget that they heard a joke before.
Right.
There's all sorts of shit that people have parallel thinking. That's possible too. But there comes a point in time when you're watching dudes where they've seen someone before, and he's just doing this and reworking it and he's changing it and making it this way.
Right, because there's such a specific, the thing, obviously with the Carlos thing, the Bill Cosby thing. It's like that.
Yeah, so
that's
silly.
not common thinking. My God, that's.
Well, he's a sociopath. There's dude's got a disconnect.
You gotta be.
You hear him on the Mark Maron podcast?
Yeah, I heard the whole thing.
Oh my God!
And I'm good for Mark for having him back the second time. Because Mark's like, you know what? I don't feel good about that. I feel like I deprived you of something.
The first thing was gross.
Yeah,
that's why he said that, because he was embarrassed by how gross he sounded.
Softballs, yeah.
It wasn't just softballs. It was like he was like saying, "Well, you got there through comedy. At least you did it through comedy."
You did it through comedy.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
You're a real comedian.
What does that mean?
You like comedy? It's like, come on.
You know what his thing is? He has this thing for people who've made it through comedy. He thinks that's the right way. All these other people have sold out, man.
Sure, yeah.
Man,
you didn't do it the right way. It's like, good luck doing it that way.
The grossest thing about the Maron thing was that he thought that the video that Brian and I made, he said, I think it should have been handled through the community. That's what he said. Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That we could have been handled somewhere. Like, how has it ever been handled through the community? Ever? Name one time. They don't give a fuck. That was the whole purpose for the whole thing.
Right.
The community didn't give a fuck. They all knew he was stealing.
And
everyone from Comedy Central knew he was stealing.
Right.
Everybody that worked on the set on that show, I knew writers. They all knew he was stealing. This was not. No one was stopping this. Right. And then Maron says this, and then he goes and has him on for fucking 3 hours talking about it.
Yeah,
it should have been handled into with the community, inside the community. You just talked about it for 3 hours on a podcast.
Broadcasting to the community.
Our video was 10 minutes long, Mark.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember.
It's just, but he's one of those dudes. Maron is one of those dudes.
I remember that night, and God damn it, if that didn't really expose him, if that didn't,
that was it.
Worked.
It worked. It did work. It's straightened out. It's straightened out a real problem.
It was amazing to be.
But Maron's comparisons were so ridiculous because he was like, he's talking about parallel thinking or guys sounding like guys. Those are obviously those are very real circumstances. It happens amongst comics. I mean, I found myself many times in my career sounding like other comedians that I admired. Yeah. But there's a big difference between that and ganking people's shit. And Mencia was doing it blatantly in front of everybody all the time.
I mean, it's done for him. He's a pariah, right?
Yes, he is what he is. His audience has been reduced to what it should have been in the first place. People without an internet connection and people who are so stupid they don't care if you're full of shit.
What kind of what does he look at? Is he doing theaters? How's he doing?
Good. I'm sure he's making a living.
Sure, right.
Look, there's plenty of retards out there, bro.
Yeah. You think he'll get back on TV?
NASCAR is huge, and I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with fast cars.
Right.
They're pretty fucking cool. I would love to. I'd even mind going to see one live. Right. But if you ever look in the audience in NASCAR, there's people out there, man, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah,
and they're fucking dumb.
Ones. Yeah.
You ever see those Sarah Palin book signing lines?
Oh yeah, the looks on them.
Christ.
Yeah.
Christ.
A teabagger rally, listen to the looks on them. It's like you hate to lump people in, but it's like, come on.
There's so many of them, bro.
Let's talk about that.
We live in a nerfed society. We live in a society that makes it real easy for these pussies to get by.
Yeah.
And they just turn out dumb and simple, and they want to be around other dumb, simple people, and they want to fight everybody who disagrees.
Right.
I'll tell you this on this land where my grandfather died fighting for this land. Shut the fuck up.
They have kids, and you just look at the kids, you're like, there's no
fucking blood clot for progress, cunt, you dumb fuck. And that's the problem with voting. The problem with voting is there's at least as many of them as there are people that are sensible.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that are sensible that are barely keeping it together. The stress of modern day society is too much for the fucking mortal body.
Right.
People's bodies are not meant for fucking 4 hours every day in traffic and bullshit and fucking stress at work because you have to pretend to be someone that you're not because you want to keep your job. So you have to listen to this fucking cuntbag, stupid retard boss. The only reason he's in there because he married the fucking boss's daughter, and holy shit, you're losing your marbles, bro. And then you start falling apart at the seams. Well, you can vote too.
Yeah,
you can vote too. You don't have your brain in order. You're not making good decisions. Your whole life's a goddamn mess. We got a problem here with these goddamn liberals want to take my taxes. That's not the problem. We got a bigger problem. A way
much bigger problem.
We're moving in a direction, and no one has analyzed the direction. We're just going.
It's just amazing when those people, though, that they think if you make less than $200,000 a year, you're not a Republican. I hate to tell you, but you're just not.
Yeah.
You're not a real one.
You don't know what you're doing.
You don't know what you're doing, and you're not servicing a party that's made for you.
Isn't it amazing that they've managed to connect, like, being, like, good folk and being, like, good God, guns, and government?
Yeah.
They've managed to connect all that together with big business that doesn't give a fuck about you or the environment.
Yeah.
Like, they've managed to connect hunting and fishing.
Right.
Like, Bush would always be hunting, and, fucking the famous thing where Dick Cheney shot his friend in the face.
Yeah.
And Sarah Palin's always shooting loose.
I kill.
All the conservatives, all the ones who want to let these fucking raping companies just continue, these Monsantos and fucking Halliburtons continue to fucking just crush across the world.
Yeah.
These are the hunters.
And they get the people like that, like the Palins and this. It's cool. It's chic now, especially in this election, to be dumb.
Yeah.
To not know anything. Ignorance is now celebrated in politics. Elitism is poo-pooed and shat on. Oh, he went to an Ivy League school. That's a good thing. That's a good thing when you go to an Ivy League school.
Yeah, he doesn't understand us.
Yeah, he doesn't understand
us, regular folks.
No, regular folks should not. People.
I started out on my dad's farm.
Yeah.
And I went, whoa. What books have you read?
Right.
Why the fuck are you going to be the leader?
Right.
What is exceptional about your philosophy?
Yeah.
What is it? We're getting people that are just good talkers. That's all we require.
Right.
We just require them to be able to talk good in public and look like someone who could be leader.
The president should be the smartest person in the room.
Right, but is that possible? I don't think that the whole world needs leaders. I think that the way we exist right now, we exist in the same manner that they existed when there was 500 monkey people to a group, and they all had to fight off the coming tribes. Mm-hmm. The tribes that would come and try to steal their shit.
Yeah.
And they all had to rely on the baddest motherfucker. Who's the guy who's been around the longest? He's the guy who knows how to escape. He knows the trails. He knows where the food is in the woods. He knows the best places to hide.
Yeah.
I think the president should be Miss America. Every year we get to look at a hot new sexy president.
Okay, Brian.
Awesome. Wouldn't that be awesome? Like the president gives speeches in like fucking swimsuits and stuff. That would be way better.
It's hard to tell too. It's like, think about this, like Obama. He's only been in 2 years, and it's like, and he did make a good point on Jon Stewart's show. He's like, I didn't guarantee this shit overnight.
Well, and here's the thing: can it be fixed? Doesn't it seem like it's built on a foundation of unfixable shit.
Yeah.
It seems like our stock market, this Taibbi article that I was reading about the stock market, when he was talking about how many companies are betting against BP, that there's like this gigantic derivatives market where people get to gamble on whether or not someone defaults on their loans and gamble whether or not a company can succeed and repay loans. And there's like this shadow economy that's based on all that.
Yeah.
It's a mind fuck.
That is.
Dude, what I've always said about this is if they can rip off accountants, how crazy is this shit? How crazy is this shit for real? Forget about you and I, who know nothing about the economy. They're ripping off accountants. That's how deep this fucking web.
They're creating non-tangible things to make tangible money.
And they're getting away with it. Somehow or another, they're getting away with it. And instead of like fixing and putting in a totally new operating system, they're just putting up new paths and new parts of the registry and new pathways. And
they talk about that. That's what stifles America's growth in a lot of ways. Like in Japan and China, their internet is just far superior to ours. Because
is it really?
Because we use the pre-existing structure.
Super fast.
They have what do they use? What you call fiber optics.
Fiber optics.
And see, we have a pre-existing copper and kind of old school wiring. That's why the cable companies and the internet have never really gotten in bed in this country. Everywhere else, that internet TV is normal.
Really?
To access the web from your TV and have.
They're just starting to really do that now. Sony's released a nice, like it's a 40-incher.
Yeah,
it's like a TV internet thing. It gets everything from your TV.
And they should have that. And that technology has been available for 10 fucking years. They should have been doing that.
I think there's been a lot of resistance.
Those cable companies are big time. Like they run a fucking major. You want to talk some serious, con artists? It's a cable company.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And then the internet popped up. We already had a pre-existing structure, and so China never had one. So they just built a whole fucking new one. It's like, look at us. They laugh at our internet. It's instant.
Yeah.
You push something instant.
Dude, whenever I do a thread on your message board with like speed tests, it's like I'm all proud of my 30 megabyte download connection. But then
you get 30 megs,
something like that. Yeah.
Is this the Uverse, AT&T Uverse?
Yeah.
God damn, 30 megs.
Yeah. But then you look at other people's and they're like 88 meg.
Dude, I remember when I used to play Quake, there was dudes that would get like 4 ping. Their ping would be like 4. I'm like, how is this? Are you in the room with the server?
Right.
How are you getting 4? Yeah. They were just on some crazy fat fucking cable pipe.
Yeah.
When cable internet first came around and everybody else had like ISDN.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you could get online and rape them.
Right.
They were like frozen. Their shit would be like they'd have 150 ping from like a 56K modem or an ISDN line. And what ping is the amount of milliseconds it takes between the actual action and it happened.
Oh, right.
So you would have to lead, like if you want to shoot a guy with a railgun, you'd have to assume that he was going to keep running in the same direction. You would actually lead him. So you'd aim right in front of him with the railgun, and you'd have to plan in your mind for 150 milliseconds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That
guys were really good. There was guys that would kill you. They would fuck you up, even with a lag, because they knew
how to lead you.
They knew how to time the lag, and they knew like what weapons were good to deal with the non-specific aiming that you had to employ.
That's pretty damn smart.
Dude, it was incredible. Dudes become, you get tuned into it, and you become like, one of the things about like video games is like your fast twitch and your movements and everything. They become in tune with the parameters of the game.
Well, they say that teaches kids skills today. That is helping their motor skills. Because I played that Grand Theft Auto, but I never stole cars. I would go play this the free mode where you can just run around the city and wreak havoc, and you start to develop a lifestyle. I became a sniper, a really good one. I was Lee Harvey Oswald, and I would snipe people, and I was really, really good at it. And I would go sit on top of buildings, and I would call you on the cell phone because you had the earpiece, and the guy would be like, hello? I'd be like, say cheese, motherfucker. Boom. And I'd off him from a skyscraper. And it's like, I started living this life, and I would get thrills out of it. I'd get excited. I'd be proud of myself. I got really good at flying a helicopter. It's fucking hard to fly a helicopter.
The best was, the thing I would always do is like, hey, everybody get in the helicopter. I'm going to take you to the top.
And then I jump out. Yeah. I killed them all. And I laugh my ass off.
And you blow them up?
Yeah.
You left the sky. You just let them fall from the sky?
Yeah, you'll commit suicide, but it's fun to see them because they're working on something. Because they're like, motherfucker, I was working on something over because it's New York. It's like, I was over in Brooklyn. You take me all the way over here to do this, you fucking dick.
Dude, that shit.
Or you land it on top of like the Statue of Liberty or something like that.
It's just so fun. You go around exploring. There's no rules, and you just run amok. But after a while, there is kind of like an understanding. Like if you see another dude, like sometimes a dude will just come up with beef, like just doing drive-bys on you. You're like, all right. But then sometimes a dude will walk up and want to hang out. And those are the guys you take for a ride. I roll solo. I'm Charles Bronson in that fucking city. I ain't hanging out with nobody.
Right.
You get in my car, you're gonna get got, dude.
Right.
You're done with. I'm gonna embarrass
jack
you.
People?
I jack people. I I have no friends in Liberty City. Poor Matt, the door guy at the Comedy Store, was like, "Hey, let's meet up, man. Give me your code." And I was like, "Yeah, all right." I'll show right up. And I'm like, boom. He's like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "It's just the way it goes in Liberty City, homie." You know what I mean?
You're a dick.
Dudes get hurt.
That's hilarious.
Why don't I get it? Why make friends if I can shoot you? Why do it and suffer no repercussions for it? I'm alone.
I got friends in real life, bitch.
I'm a lone wolf in that fucking city, dude.
That's hilarious.
Grab a car, listen to some tunes, go do drive-bys on people, provoke the police. That game is so much fun.
Now, do you do this online with a PC
I do it
or with
online.
an Xbox?
Xbox.
Oh,
I do it online with the PS3.
I fucking hate game controllers. That
You
has
need to get
kept
over it.
me-
You need to
No.
just play it for a month, and you'll get used to it.
Oh, you only do computers.
Mouse and keyboard's better. It's just
Yeah.
better, period. I've tried both. I understand the appeal of a
Right.
little game controller. It is not as specific.
Aren't the graphics better on computer? Just always.
Yeah, yeah, the graphics are better, the resolution's better, but more importantly, when you're in front of the screen, like you're dealing with, like you shouldn't be dealing with, if you really want to pay attention, more than 21 inches, right? 21 inches. You want a small screen. It's not too big, because otherwise your eyes are not going to be able to keep up with
You're
everything.
right about that.
And a mouse and a keyboard is way better.
Yeah.
You can move much more specifically with a mouse and a keyboard,
Sure.
and a mouse is way more accurate as far as aiming.
Right.
So in fast twitch games like Quake and Unreal Tournament and all those crazy
Yeah,
games,
but Grand Theft Auto is not like that.
Yeah,
It's
can I
not-
get
it's not
Grand
a-
Theft Auto on computer?
You can, but you don't need to do mouse. That's a game that mouse
Grand
and keyboard.
Theft Auto is not a fast twitch
Well,
game.
all
right?
video
Yeah.
games
Most games aren't.
are moving to joystick though, full range of motion.
Yeah.
Most of them are.
I've gotten so good at the Xbox controller, the PS3 controller, that I don't even realize I'm using my
it's
hands.
secondary to me.
The problem if once you've done Quake, once you've experienced this super high adrenaline rush of really high speed 3D action, the death
that's
matches,
only that
with
game.
rocket
Yeah.
launches.
Oh,
And
I'm all about
shotguns
death
and shit.
matches. Yes,
that's
yes,
all I'm
yes.
about, bro. I'm all about. I don't want a regular. I want a game where I can walk regular speed.
Right.
I want a game where I can rocket jump. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to shoot a rocket at the ground and jump at the same time and go flying through the air.
Yeah.
That's badass.
That's cool.
Dude, you
I
need
do
to
that.
play so many more games,
Death-
Joe.
dude, when you
I
play
can't.
Every
can't.
time you talk about that,
I get bored.
When you play deathmatch on
no,
Grand
you
Theft
like those
Auto,
other boring
I like that shit on Grand Theft Auto, that deathmatch, because
there's a deathmatch?
There's
So
a deathmatch. They'll
how
throw
many
18 people
all
from
games-
all around the
18
world.
dudes.
all games have
All
death
around the
matches,
world,
so.
and you just I love killing somebody I know is real. I just know somebody I'm
On the other end.
and
Someone's on the other end. They really experience
yeah,
it.
and I got the earpiece and everything, and I'd go into rooms and be a bunch of like teenage boys. I'd be like, "Yeah, niggas, who's ready to get killed?" And they'd be like, "Who is this guy?" Nobody would talk shit to me. It's amazing how a voice will work. Nobody would talk shit. I'd be like, "Yeah, motherfucker, how'd that feel?" They'd be like,
That's hilarious.
I'm 12. I do voices and shit all the time. It was fucking this one.
So
like,
everybody's allowed to talk when you get in a room?
yeah, everybody
Yeah.
can talk. You can mute yourself.
mute people
and
if
then
they get
you'll
annoying.
hear
Oh,
French.
okay.
You'll hear Chinese. Like
Whoa.
You'll hear
it's-
little kids that are fighting with their mom, and you're
Yeah.
giving them advice like throw her Vagisil at her.
Right.
And they're like, "Mom!"
And then you'll hear the dismay of somebody when you fuck them up in a death match. And I was
You're like, "Fuck,
nasty.
shit."
I was a grenade expert. I would hold it, but I do a drive by you and drop it at the last second and take off and just fuck your world up.
Battlefield, where you just drop a grenade, like you're
Yeah.
driving with somebody, and then you get
Yeah.
out and you put a grenade in.
Yeah,
and
it's
just run.
so good. I mean, that guy. I had to stop playing. I had to stop playing to
It's
live
so
my
much
life
fun.
again. I was like, I'm not living my life.
Do you remember Robert from the Comedy Store, the manager, who got addicted to
Robert Davies?
Not
World of
World of Warcraft. No, it was the other one, EverQuest.
Was he play? Was Robert Davies?
Yes,
yeah.
yes. You remember Robert?
Yeah. I didn't know he was into that.
Famous Robert quote. I say this all the time to people when I talk about people who are addicted to games. We're in the back of the Comedy Store, back by the bar area, and he goes, "It's so weird. I'm so successful in my online life, but so unsuccessful in my real life." Because his online life in EverQuest, he was a pimp. He was like a sorcerer with magic and shit.
That's great.
Yeah, he had like pet dragons in his online life.
There was a documentary about those people, the World of Warcraft. Did you see that one? It was amazing. Like what it
Very
costs. them.
dangerous,
It's like a
man.
bad drug habit. It's like heroin. Like dudes are having
People
to
have
move
let their
out.
kids starve.
Yeah.
Because they get addicted with these online role playing games.
I met this hot chick that was like supermodel hot, and I found out that she was addicted to that game like 12 hours a day.
World of
And
Warcraft?
Yeah, and it blew my mind and was like, okay, this game might not be too bad.
I would play.
Fuck,
I would play Grand Theft Auto probably like up to 4 hours a day, and I felt like that was even a
It's
waste.
so cool though to put these headphones on and not to click and enter into a world where there's a bunch of other people online,
Right.
and it's a gigantic, massive arena, so you
Right.
can wander around all these different areas.
What's the one that just came out? Bobby Lee keeps trying to get me to get. He plays it all the time. It's Las Vegas.
Oh no,
Fallout.
Fallout. The
Vegas.
Las
That's what I'm
Vegas,
playing
Vegas.
right now.
Is that what you're playing? You like that?
Oh fuck yeah! Dude,
it
have
the
you played
shit?
the first one, the
No.
Fallout 3?
I've never played.
Dude, fuck that. Get Fallout 3 for $19. Play that thing. You'll fucking love it and go beat because it's the exact same game, but it's in Vegas.
I love Deathmatch and GTA so much. I never felt the need to play another game. And then I heard Medal of Honor is pretty good too.
What is this Fallout game like?
It's more like first-person shooter mixed with like a role-playing game, but it's one of these games that because he likes Grand Theft Auto, it's just an open sandbox. Meaning there is tons of different endings. There's tons of different. You could either be a good person or a bad guy. But what's cool is just like going into these towns, and it's really realistic, and you can go search
Why don't
through
they do
people's
it with a
house.
mouse and keyboard?
Because
Why don't they do that?
everyone's used to the controllers.
But it's not as accurate.
Yeah, but it's only a certain amount of games like Quake doesn't mean
Well, you
need
know
to be that
they've
accurate.
actually had game offs where they've taken people with PC versions of the game and played them against people that
Yeah,
used
for
to,
Quake. But that's what I'm
Not
saying.
just Quake.
Well,
No,
I
other
mean,
games.
there's only certain amount of games that need to be that accurate. Meaning, like if you are all playing Battlefield with a controller, there's people that are awesome at that
what
controller.
I'm telling you
know?
is that you're missing one of the most satisfying parts of the game.
Well, yeah,
is
but you're
having
talking
nasty
statistics
aim.
and numbers.
What is Quake?
No,
I've
no,
never
no, I'm
played
not
that.
talking statistics and numbers. I'm talking about the most satisfying part of these third-person shooters is having nasty aim. Is being able to blast dudes.
But they make games so that
Twitch games.
with the controller in mind, so you can have nasty aim playing any of these games.
But you
like,
won't
like
have
Grand
as
Theft Auto.
good aim as playing with the mouse and the keyboard. When they've played against each other, the mouse and the keyboard people always win.
I have to
Yeah,
see.
but
Because it's more accurate. I understand that it's accurate enough.
Right.
I think it's accurate enough.
Yeah,
but if you were playing against a guy with a mouse and a keyboard, it's not
right, but
accurate
you're never
enough.
playing with a guy with a mouse and a keyboard. You're playing other people with controllers.
Yeah.
But why would you do that if you know a mouse and a keyboard's more accurate?
Because
See,
you
the
get-
whole listen, man, the whole thing is accuracy in those games. The whole thing
Right.
is in Quake. The whole thing is strategy, planning out your map, and then being able to accurately pick a guy
Yeah,
off.
but they designed the game with the controller and accuracy of the controller's limitations in mind. So what you might be playing Quake, where you are so
I understand this, Brian. You're repeating yourself. What I'm saying is it doesn't matter to me because I'll always know that the mouse and the keyboard is more accurate.
for Quake.
No, anytime. It's more accurate.
No. You play.
Mouse is a more accurate way of aiming,
I
period.
bet if you get like the best Battlefield 1943 guy versus the best 1943 guy on a computer, I bet there's not going to be a huge difference
Brian,
to where
there's
you
a difference, man. There's a difference. The mouse guys always win. It's more accurate. This is not like an opinion. It's pretty much it's more
But
accurate. Like you can
shutting
measure
off,
it on a computer.
You're shutting off all games on the console because you don't like the controller. Where a game like
I don't want to get addicted to games, period.
Grand Theft
so that's
Auto
one of the
has
reasons.
nothing to
I'm
do with
sure
the
it's
accuracy.
awesome. But to me, if I'm going to play video games, I'm going to play the most thrilling ones. And the most thrilling ones to me are first-person shooters.
Yeah.
Deathmatch style, first person, like
that's what I
Quake,
like. Yeah.
Counter-Strike, shit like
Yeah.
that. You're running around shooting. The mouse and keyboard is the only way to go with those
That's
things, man.
exactly what the deathmatch in Grand Theft Auto, and you have all of New York City is your playground and for a
Dude.
deathmatch. But
I could
it's
be
better.
totally down with that though, but I would want to be able to like get people with like a mouse and a keyboard. You could snipe people and shit. And
Dude,
have
I
perfect
snipe.
accuracy.
I am a
No, that's what I'm saying. He's
But
like
you
the
have to make
perfect
sure
sniper.
that they're not looking at
I'm
you.
a level 10, dude.
Yeah.
I'm
When you're
Lee
playing-
Harvey Oswald.
When you're playing Quake, you don't
Yeah.
get opportunities. Dudes don't sit around and just wait to be shot in the head.
Right, right.
Like everybody's constantly moving. So
Oh, yeah.
you have to be very accurate.
Oh, these guys move all the time. You go to the airport and have the deathmatch, dude. I go find a nest somewhere and I just let them run and I'll lead them.
It's
I'll
called-
lead them.
We call it in Quake. They call it camping. A dude
yeah.
would like rocket jump up. There was like certain crazy trick moves that you could
Yeah.
do, and one of them was this dude figured out how to double rocket jump to
Right.
get to the top of this tower. He would throw a grenade down, and then he would rocket jump on the grenade.
Oh, that's
so
dope.
he would make sure that the grenade, he timed the grenade, he
Yeah.
clink clink clink, and then he would rocket jump, ba-doom, as it went off,
I love
and he would
that.
go sailing to the top of this tower. It was a trick move, and then he would just jack people and win the map because you couldn't get him out of there, and he would just peck you off of the rails.
I could go get this today, Quake.
Oh fuck yeah!
Yeah, you could have got it yesterday.
Quake
too.
1, 2, 3, 4. They've all been out
You
for
don't
a
want
long
Quake.
time.
Get Killzone 2. Have you played that yet?
Why do you say you don't want Quake? I want Quake. I love it.
Because Killzone 2 is a million times better. There's so many games that are a million
to
times
you,
better.
To you.
You just haven't played them.
to you.
You just described everything I
you.
like. I love
To you.
warfare. I just love warfare. And
If you love
tactical,
warfare,
where you can be
one-on-one.
tactical.
Yes.
Yeah.
The one-on-one death matches with Quake are the most fucking thrilling shit you can ever do online.
It's whittled down to one dude online and some before, and it gets real exciting.
Brian, you have different tastes than me. You know, it's just
No,
I'm just saying my tastes are different.
I'm just saying that they've taken that game and have made it a million times better.
What is
No,
it? Killzone?
but you're saying it
Killzone?
to you. You're saying to you.
Yeah,
it's a million
Killzone's pretty
times
good. There's
better.
a ton of games.
To
that
me,
are
if it's not a
Borderlands.
mouse and keyboard and it's not,
Now,
you don't
you
have
can
that kind
play-
of accuracy.
You can get these for Mac. Is that?
And most of these games are for Mac. Also, a lot of the Call of Duties.
Has
at
Mac
least.
caught up?
Mac's
Not
okay.
really,
It's
right?
all right. EA has been pushing it a little bit better lately.
What's
but
a good one I can get for
They
Mac?
all have
'Cause I don't-
they
I
all
don't-
have boot camps. So
I don't
you
have
play
it. Can
any
I get
game.
Quake for Mac?
Yes. Is it getting to a point now though where most games are just going console?
For the most part, I mean, they still release them here and there, but it's not. They're selling a million times more on console.
Yeah,
now.
most
Really?
consoles are becoming.
Just because it's like you can have the best computer and then you get that game and it's awesome. Next year, you're going to have to do something about your computer if you want it to
Right.
be as good as a console or whatever.
So the console, what they've done is they've just kind of standardized everything, and this is what you get, and bam, you just set it up.
It should be updatable though. Like
Makes
the console.
sense.
I mean, your computer.
You're constantly updating a computer. That's the problem. And then you get a virus or you get something that slows down your computer, and then you're fucked. Consoles, everything's designed for the console, like a Mac is. All the programs are designed for Macs, so it definitely doesn't ever really get slower. Your PS3 is going to be as fast as the first day you get it as the last day.
I'm gonna
PCs
get
are.
that Quake on the way home. You already got me. I love killing people.
So addictive, dude. Are you good at aiming with a mouse and a keyboard? Dude,
No, but I can get good at it.
I would go online, man, and I would play against dudes who are professionals. Like every now and then, dudes who are real professional players would be in these rooms,
Yeah.
and you go one-on-one deathmatch against these guys and just get raped.
Yeah, and just
I
that
just
teach you the
realize,
ways.
like, what kind of control and domination someone can
Right.
have over you.
I always
It's
love
so
that.
exciting. Your fucking heart is beating a million miles
Yeah.
a minute. Just chasing after you. See lightning going right by your head, barely missing you, and you're like, ah!
Dude, I love it. I love urban warfare too. Especially that's the cool thing about Grand Theft Auto. They have you can go to different boroughs in New York and stuff. And
Actually, you can get Quake Live for free. Just go to
yeah, that's right,
QuakeLive.com and you can play for free.
Yeah,
Really?
Quake Live. Yeah. It's a web-based program. It works for Mac too, and keep me away from it. So it's scary, man.
Quake Live, and
You
I'm
lose
on,
your-
and I'm
You
gaming.
lose your goddamn life, bro. They're gonna get you.
No, I
They're
love
gonna
it.
get you.
I
Dude's gonna
love
be
it.
hitting you with a chain gun.
Oh, I love
Cut
it,
you
man.
down.
I love it. I was so nasty in deathmatch, and the other one, it's like I would come up just to piss somebody off. I'd stab them to death. They'd have a gun, and I'd shank them to death just to be a dick.
Brian and I first met, we played online once, and this was like in the height of my Quake addiction, and we only played once just because I just.
Yeah, he slammed through. He won like 102 times in a row or something ridiculous like that. I didn't even win. But to me, that wasn't even like a fun experience. I don't.
Well, that was because it was unmatched.
Well, no, I mean
I
played Unreals, I played the Quakes all my life, but to me, the idea of just run, kill, die, run, kill, die, run, that's not fun to me. It's like I want a little bit more of an adventure, I guess, mixed in with my first person shooter, or just not having to start over from scratch every 30 seconds or a minute,
Well, normally you don't. Well, we were just it was not enjoyable.
You just gotta
to
stay
because
alive,
we were
right?
unmatched. We were poorly matched.
Well, see, the thing is, I don't like tasks. I've never stolen a car and grabbed
I ain't
it off
driving
the-
anything, bitch.
I don't work for
I'm
anybody.
here to shoot
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm here to
the
run
same
down
like that.
hallways and
Yeah.
lightning gun someone to death.
Right. I'm all about murder. I
Right?
bring nothing
I'm here
but
to
hate and
I'm here to
evil.
rocket launch you in the face,
Yeah,
bitch.
I love that
I'm here to
shit.
catch you when you're hitting that bouncy pad, jumping through the air. I want to catch you mid jump with a railgun and watch you explode in a spray of red.
I love that, dude.
Of
I
red
gotta say-
pixels.
QuakeLive.com, is that
Yeah.
what we're talking about?
So much fun.
QuakeLive.com.
And I can just get on and play for free?
Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah, I mean,
You can lose your life.
Since
I'm
you've
gonna start that
you've
today.
never played it, you'll probably like it. But I think you're going to be easily like,
Raped.
okay,
Yeah.
No, I think you're just going to be easily bored with it. You're going to be more want for like the Fallout Vegas or something
Now,
like
can
that.
Why would you say that? Why would he be easily bored if he likes
Because
death
he
matches?
likes Grand Theft Auto type games.
But he likes death matches.
But just the
Yeah, but
deathmatch
it's-
in Grand Theft Auto. I never do the tasks. I've never
Right.
done any of the tasks.
Right.
You
That's
know?
what I'm saying. But you like the open end world. You're not dying every 3 seconds in Grand Theft Auto. You're collecting
Brian, you only
weapons.
die every 3 seconds when you play
No.
someone
If
who's
you
way
watch,
better than
if
you.
Well, in the deathmatch you
watch,
do.
if you watch people in the deathmatch of Quake, people are dying at least once every minute or
Okay,
so.
but you're talking. Okay, once every minute, yeah. But if you're also talking, are you talking one-on-one? Or are you talking?
No,
like
I'm talking about like team deathmatch free for all.
Yeah,
Okay,
if I'm playing a deathmatch in GTA and there's 18 people in it, you're dying about an average a minute, and you're good
if you're going
stay
right
alive.
in the middle of it.
And especially
like,
if
to me, I'm like you. I get the sniper.
Right.
I get to collect my weapons. I
But there's
fucking
like
collect some health.
There's like some
shields.
rooms where they only allow, like the moderator will only allow rocket launchers, so you have to just basically
Right.
go around shooting by people's
Right.
feet, and
Zero
not fuck
gravity.
yourself up. Yeah. So those ones are cool too. But I like warfare. I like collecting my weapons and getting a grenade and
Yeah, me
and
too.
tactically leading somebody somebody into a trap.
Well, that's the best thing about the deathmatch in Quake is that you control a map and that the weapons will respawn every 30 seconds.
Oh, that's great.
So you could keep running around snatching up the rocket launchers as they respawn. And every time you get them, you get like, extra rockets, and this guy can't get shit. So he's running around with this gay little pistol with only a certain amount of bullets, and you're fully loaded with all the armor. You're timing all the armor.
Yeah.
You're timing all the weapon respawns. You have all your weapons, all your armor, and you're just raping him every time he respawns.
How is it free? How are they making money? Can you pull it up?
It's an old game. Quake has been around for a long time, and Quake Live is just their way of giving back to the community and making people excited about their game and making it so that it's a cross-platform thing that they can do where it's web-based, and so they can work on their shit while they develop new games. They work on their ability to make them for the web.
Do you still play? Are you still playing?
No, it's scary to me.
Yeah,
too scary. I don't want to lose my life. Oh, I've talked about it so many times in the podcast. I can't talk about it anymore. But I have a real addiction to games. I get addicted to things.
Yeah, me too.
We talked about it. Yeah. I think how many comics are like us? A lot, right?
It's part of it. You have to be. You have to be a sick fuck to want to go up and make strangers laugh, to extract an involuntary response for them intermittently. It's a fucking weird thing.
And risk them not laughing and get through them not laughing and rebound and try it again.
Yeah. You should have seen me. I was in Iowa at the Funny Bone last week, and the Friday night they just stared at us. Staring at us, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is going to be a long week." And luckily, it was just a different crowd, and the rest of the crowds were great. So much so, in fact, I was very impressed. I was like, "Oh, you guys are, pretty fucking cool people here." Like they were very.
There's a lot of cool people all over the country now because of the internet.
Yeah,
the kids are cool now.
Just a very cool, and like there was no conservative. There's some some of the libertarians, which are like, I feel bad for real libertarians, the one that the teabaggers are starting to extract their message, which are nothing about. Real libertarians aren't like that at all. But there's some real libertarians out there and some cool guys that talk politics, and
there's some teabaggers that are real libertarians.
Yeah, there are.
There's the Ron Pauls of the movement,
and I feel bad that they get lumped in with the wrong ones.
The whole when it's a very very tricky thing when you start getting a giant group together, because it's like, okay, who's in this group? Okay, and what are your beliefs?
Right.
But you're calling yourself a teabagger too, but you don't like black people?
Right.
Okay. And you think Obama should go back to Africa, and you think he was born in Indonesia, and you're a teabagger too.
Right.
So it's like, it gets confusing. It's like whenever you have a big group, it's like, God damn it, do we have to state what it is to be a teabagger?
Yeah.
You must love everyone, indiscriminately. You must do this. You must do that. You must not be a Civil War reenactor.
Yeah, I mean, libertarians had theirs pretty well mapped out though. Before you knew exactly what they stood for. No police states. No...
Isn't it funny though that it's such a fringe organization that it's thought of as fringe? Yeah. Like, oh, I voted libertarian. Oh, you fucking idiot. Oh, yeah.
And that's the only way to make change. If somebody finally does something and says, "Fuck this, fuck voting right or wrong," or "Fuck voting," I'm voting how I feel instead of voting. Because it's like they were saying when Obama was running. It's like, I liked Ron Paul a lot. I really liked him. I was like, God, I kind of think I want to vote for this guy. I won't say whether I did or didn't, but it's like I was more attuned with everything he was saying.
Yeah, without a doubt. But we've talked about this before, that they always made him out to be kooks.
Yeah.
Everyone on Fox News made him out to be a kook. Everyone on CNN. I mean, that's not impartial reporting. That's not even the news. What they're doing is they were programming us to think that he was a joke candidate. That was the agenda.
It really is sad, because when you listen to that man talk, he says more. He makes more sense than anybody. He's not a politico. These are not statements or catchphrases. He'll tell you honestly, and it's like, wow, you'll never get in office because nobody will ever have the balls to pull the trigger on you.
Yeah, it's a real wake-up call whenever there's any political campaigning. Whenever you look at that crazy lady in Arizona, what is the woman's name?
Jan Brewer.
Yeah, Jan Brewer. Who she made up some crazy shit about her father dying in World War II. Yeah. Meanwhile, her father's alive.
There was that. Now there's the DUI things popping up. And
she's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And
then they'll elect her.
She made up shit about people losing their headless bodies being found on the Mexican border.
You see her fold on her fucking debate? How she just froze?
She stopped for 10 seconds.
I was like, who does that? Who really does that? I wouldn't stop at gunpoint.
Well, what it was explained to me was that she was never even elected for that job. She was given that job.
Well, when Napolitano left, she was lieutenant governor. She was, and you know what? They will elect her today.
You think so?
That's my old hometown, man. I love my people there, and I love springtime in Arizona. But there's some politically backwards. It's gotten more backwards since I've left. It was pretty cool in the '90s. Fife Symington was governor, but
we were in a club in Phoenix, and Brian set me hip to one of the major problems in Phoenix. Do you remember that? This is a long time ago, many years ago.
Cocaine vampires.
Oh, yeah.
We were in this club, and I had never done coke before.
Right.
And Brian goes, everyone's on coke. So I go, what are you talking about? Everyone here's on coke. And I go, okay. tell me how you know they're on coke. And he goes, watch. He goes, you're going to look around. Don't look yet. You're going to look around. Everyone's going to be touching their nose, and they're all going to be talking, and they're all going to be very excited, and there's going to be like a lot of fist pumps and a lot of fucking high fives. And he goes, just look around. And all of a sudden I looked around, and it was like the opening like the opening scene in Blade where the blood starts spraying from the ceiling and the guy's confused. Like, what the fuck? He's like, what the hell, man?
That's so true because it's too hot during the day and they stay in the clubs all night.
Yeah.
It's just it's a very strange thing, and it happened in the Old West, even in Wyatt Earp's day. There's just always been this strange outlaw rogue mentality there,
which is cool. But here's a problem with Phoenix. All right, I love Phoenix. I love going back there.
Yeah.
The problem with that place is it gets too hot.
120 at 2 a.m.
It's too hot, and people stop thinking when it gets that hot.
And it really is, and it's something where it's like, I haven't lived there in 10, 11 years, and I could never, I don't know how I lived in it. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how.
Extreme heat brings like a lackadaisic mentality. Like you lackadaisical, or you're like, ugh.
Yeah, it does.
Like you don't want to do anything. You're like, fuck this.
You just hopscotch from air conditioner to air conditioner.
Yeah,
That's literally what you do.
It's not good. I'd rather have chilly. I'd rather have 30 degrees.
Yeah.
I would rather have 30 degrees like Colorado.
Perfect here, dude.
Yeah.
It's like 75 degrees every day.
It gets hot out here in the valley. It gets hot. It's awesome in Malibu.
Yeah.
When you like by the ocean, Santa
Get that
Monica.
marine layer.
Yeah,
and
because
everything.
it's never hot. It's never cold. It's always like 70-something degrees.
Yeah.
You can always wear shorts in November if you want.
That's what's good about the marine layer. It keeps the heat out, keeps the cool in when it needs to, and
until a big rock from the sky hits that bitch and the water comes 1,000 miles high towards the rocks.
And I'll be out there looting, son.
Will you be?
Yeah, I'll be out there looting.
Will you go looting at the first sign of anything going wrong? Would you put a mask on, or do you think you would just fuck it, risk those YouTube videos?
I think what I would do is just go completely like Lord of the Flies. I'd get a crazy haircut.
Yeah.
Just do everything. One eyebrow maybe off.
Mad
whatever.
Max style.
Yeah.
Do you ever worry about that? About the end of the society? About everything falling apart?
I don't worry about it. I think about it, and like I said earlier, I think it's if I was part of the last generation, that'd be a kind of a cool thing. It would be. It's like, this generation. What about the last generation? That's some cool shit. If we're all dying together,
it won't matter because there'll be no one to tell the story to.
But you know what? Exactly. But there's no kaboom. There's no we end all at once. I think the idea is just like in how it's happened before. It's something real bad will happen, and then people will die out and replenish after a while. But it'll just be shitty times. Like even if nuclear war happens all over the world.
We've got it too good right now with refrigerators and cell phones. We got it wired, dude. Go to the supermarket,
and
get a big fat steak,
Yeah.
pick up some fucking charcoal,
Yeah.
come home, light that bitch,
Yeah.
kick back, watch a little of the fucking high def TV,
Yeah, dude.
watch some HD net fights and shit. Have a cold beer out of your
It's
refrigerator.
getting better. It's just getting better and better.
Woo! It's the greatest time to be alive ever.
It really is, and every day you can say that. And so when people say I won't bring kids into this world, it's like,
Shut
when
up,
has it
faggot.
ever been good? Exactly.
Shut your mouth. Would you rather bring them in the fucking King Arthur day?
Yeah.
when they Die of smallpox.
Your
you
baby's
stupid
a
cunt?
witch.
Yeah. They're fucking beating it with sticks and lighting it on fire.
Yeah,
Fuck you. It's the best time to have people
It's
right
the
now.
absolute best time.
And speaking of which, not speaking of which, where are you at next? Where are you doing stand up?
I'll be at the Comedy Store locally here in LA this week. Then I'm going to be headlining in La Jolla.
What time are your spots? Because you know the Comedy Store.
I'm usually on at 10 p.m. between 10 p.m. and 10:45.
There's some times to avoid at that motherfucker.
Yeah, there certainly is. It's from 9 o'clock until midnight. It's pretty good.
How
They've got a
you guys
great
been getting
roster.
good crowds down there?
Yeah, real good crowds. We've joined the 21st century thanks to Alf Lamont. We're online now.
Yeah, Alf is cool. He's
Alf's real cool.
Contacted me on Twitter. I've gone back and forth with him.
Yeah.
Seems like he's dedicated to the idea of the store.
Yeah.
That's what the store always needs. It needs someone to come along that believes in the whole message of it.
Sure. And there really isn't a whole lot to do.
Mitzi's on it.
Yeah. It's like Aunt Bethany in Christmas Vacation. Is the house on fire, Clark? Don't burn it down.
How many
Clark.
conversations do you have with Tommy on a regular?
Oh, dude, it's really since
What's
I
the
don't...
most ridiculous shit he's ever said to you?
Well, my favorite thing about it is it's not even like people say like, he's racist. He's not really racist. He just believes some crazy shit. You
Like
know
what? Like what?
Like if somebody does something, I'd be like, oh, it's because they're German. I'd be like, I don't think they're... It's because they're Protestant. It's like, well, how do you even know? It's just like he's a very interesting character. Him and Johnny Zapp. There's characters up there that you'll never forget as long as you live.
It's a magnet for crazy people.
It really is, and it's just like it's like a beacon for them on the Sunset Strip. They would never try to walk into another business.
No.
They wouldn't walk into the Andaz next door. They wouldn't try that at the House of blues. They come right to the store.
It's
It's a magnet.
And they know they can go to the very
It's
back
so
and come
true.
out without being hassled. They
Yeah.
can know. They
Yeah.
know.
Robert William Appenweis, he's got fucking plastic bags popping out of his clothes. You see him hanging out there. He insulates his body with plastic bags because he's got to walk like 10 miles to get to the comedy store.
I saw him like last week, and I was talking. He was talking to Tommy, and I was like, I just went to go like, hey, good.
You can't touch him.
I know.
yeah, you're not allowed to touch him.
and
Don't touch him.
he freaked
Yeah.
out.
He'll start yiping like a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's nuts.
I heard he played basketball at UCLA.
Yeah,
I heard he was quite brilliant.
really.
I heard he was this brilliant. I mean, I shouldn't.
He may
go this
have
far, but
some
he was
sort of
a
a
brilliant
mind
dude,
disorder.
and he's living like downtown in the
What happened to
Alexandria
him?
Hotel. He just went nuts. It's like schizophrenia got him.
Hmm.
Because you can tell, you can have a conversation with him. I have.
Brian was just talking about another guy that we know that went nuts.
Yeah,
You
it
wanna
just
talk
seems,
about
it just
that?
seems no. That's
Why
because that's not as personal. But I think it's weird how like if you look at comics in general, there's a big part of these comics that they do end up losing their minds. They do end up going through huge things of depression and getting into hardcore drugs.
Well, it's a crazy ride, man. The ride of needing to constantly be up and on that stage and constantly be, pumping it out and turning it on for people. It's a very delicate balance, and you have to balance out your ego with your imagination, with your desire to please people, with your desire to make yourself look. I mean, you have to figure out what the fuck you're doing this for, why you're doing it. You have to, figure out why bits aren't working. You got to figure out why they're not liking you. You have to figure. There's a lot of shit going on. It's a lot of stress for a lot of people, and some of them just can't handle it after a while. Like the very need for it in the first place, usually it usually signifies something went wrong in their childhood.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I always say that. Yeah, I always say that my dad didn't play ball with me. That's why I'm a comedian.
Yep.
That's exactly why. I need the attention of people,
Everybody, right? All of us. I mean, have you ever met anybody that's any good that isn't like that?
Yeah, or that had a great upbringing. And it's like, childhood was great.
And it's one of the reasons why we can identify with each other. It's one of the reasons why we appreciate each other and respect each other in a way that, like, even when I was talking about Mark Maron earlier, I like Mark. I don't have a problem with Mark. But if I saw Mark in, like, Germany, if I was, like, going through the airport in Germany and all of a sudden I ran into Mark, I'd be like genuinely happy to see him.
Right.
I'd be like,
somebody of your ilk.
like now he's of my ilk. Like, he's like one of me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Speaks your language.
We might be different, but we're both comics. Like there might be 1,000 of us in the whole country for real.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at all the comedians in this country, all the professional comedians, there's 300 million plus people and Mexicans. Okay, so who knows how many that really is?
Right.
300 million plus people, and out of them, maybe 1,000 of them are professional comedians. And out of that 1,000 comedians, maybe how many are headliners? Are there 300? Are there 500? Is there even that many?
It's a very exclusive group.
That's a nutty number, man. 500 people.
That's pretty amazing.
We're just throwing that out off the top of our head, but I think it's probably pretty accurate.
Right. You're probably dead right about that because we live in comedy cities. It's like when people meet a comedian outside of LA or something, it's like meeting an astronaut to them. They don't know what it's about. Like,
Totally. I
here
met the comedy community in Indianapolis. When I was in Indianapolis, I hung out with some dudes that were like local comics there.
Yeah.
It's nice to see. It's nice to know that there's like a little amateur community, and they've got. I go, well, what else you do around here? Oh, there's a bar that does comedy on Tuesday night. There's this place, and this guy runs a room, and they're trying to like develop some little comedy community.
They got it going. Iowa has it too. When I was there, they had a little community going. He's like, "You got any advice?" I go, "Get the fuck out of Iowa."
But it's not bad to start out in a place that sucks.
It's not bad, and you know what? The Midwest, they have some great clubs, some funny bones. They're always good. They're
and I
accredited.
always feel the need to support those clubs too, and come
Absolutely.
back and do those clubs. I try to do all the cool little clubs. Like I love going back and doing the Punchline Atlanta. You ever do the Punchline Atlanta?
I've never been.
Oh, it's a fucking beautiful club, perfect size. It's got wood paneling, ancient photographs. I mean, it hasn't changed a
Is it
nick,
in the underground?
Brian went up during a fucking UFC night. He hadn't done comedy in years, okay? And we were smoking weed and we were drunk, and we're like, you want to do some comedy tonight? It's like, oh, what? Tonight? Tonight in this fucking crowd? Like, come on, dude. Just get up there and do it. He goes, all right, let me try to remember my stuff. So he hasn't done comedy. Like, how long had you not done comedy?
3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years.
And I only did it like 10 times before that.
And this was a midnight UFC crowd at the Punchline Atlanta. But that's how good the Punchline is.
Yeah.
That a midnight fucking crowd on a UFC night where there were just savages in the audience.
Yeah.
And he can still go on and kill.
Oh, that's great, dude.
It's a fucking classic club. Perfect size.
Great owners, too. Great setup. I like how they have like this little balcony.
Yeah. The Comedy Works in Denver, that's another one.
Yeah.
Fucking epic place.
Right.
Epic little club.
Yeah.
This weekend, I'm doing the Cap City Comedy Club in Austin. You ever do that?
No.
Oh, one
is
of
that
the
the one
best
Little
clubs
Esther's going on?
ever.
Yeah, little Esther.
Oh, that's
God
gonna be good.
damn, it's
Dude,
one of the
Austin's
best
kick
clubs
ass.
ever. God damn, this place is, in my opinion, the most exciting place to perform in the whole country.
Yeah.
There's something about Austin, and this Cap City has been around forever,
Right.
and there's like so many cool motherfuckers in
Right.
Austin. And they
Yeah.
get excited when cool people come.
They
to
love
town.
the arts in Austin. They're
They
just
do.
big supporters of the arts.
They
you know?
super appreciate good comedy too, because Hicks had like a big base in Austin,
Oh, right.
and there's a lot of really good local comics in Austin. It's really, a lot of really smart artists.
Yeah,
there,
they
you
have
know?
a scene, 6th Street and all
Yeah.
that. They definitely have a kick-ass scene there.
Do you do Cap City? You ever do that?
No, I haven't done that. Is that good?
Son, you gotta go there.
I gotta, you know, locally, it's like, obviously the store. Are you ever going to come back to the store, you think?
No.
You're a man of your word, I'll say.
Yeah.
You vowed you wouldn't.
Say, sir.
I'll say, fella, you're never coming back to Ciro's, huh?
Listen, cocksucker, I've been there before. Been there, done that. Moving on.
Sure.
Get your shoes shined over there.
It would be an affront. It would be a travesty. It would be, I could not do it. They did everything that does not stand for comedy, they stood for. Everything that they should have been fighting against, they embraced.
The hackery,
Not just that, the fact that I fucking worked for those assholes for free. My name was on the marquee every weekend. I promoted it on my MySpace page just to keep that place open.
You were the only reason I could leave my shirt not inside out. Like when I worked the booth there, I was so fucking embarrassed about that lineup. Like you were the only saving grace, and dare I even say Eddie Griffin if he was in town.
It was some dark
Because it
years,
was
man.
so like there was a girl who would eat the matzah and the crumbs, and there was the dingle and the
There's so many people there that didn't work anywhere else,
and Mitzi gave him a fucking Friday, Saturday night spots in the prime. And like people would come up and be like, "Do you work here?" I'd be like, "No, no, I don't."
Dude, we had Renazizi on. He said the exact same thing.
It's so embarrassing. It's like you're just like, "Please, Joe, put Joe on, put Joe on." I would lie to like guys. Like guys would come up and be like, "Am I on?" It's like, "No, you're not on." Actually, Mitzi called and said, "We got to put Joe on now." You know, it was just like it was just so bad. And we would pay. I'd look people in the face and tell them, what was it, like $10 at the time? But I'd make them come in there and pay, and they'd be like, "When's the comedy going to start?" Now I'll give them the credit. It's young guys. It's relevant people.
You got some upcoming guys.
Yeah,
there.
you know,
got
there's
some
me,
good upcoming
there's
comics
Steve,
there.
there's Al, there's you know, Steve Byrne. There's a lot
Ari.
there's Ari. There's a lot of guys
Brody, you get spots.
who I would say you're getting a good show. And there's this new crop of guys too. Bobby Lee and I were talking about this. They don't quite mind their P's and Q's all the time. They don't understand the hierarchy there. That you're not even allowed to look at me. You know what I mean? Because Bobby gets real bent out of shape about that. He's like, "Fuck the new guy. I fucking hate that fucking new guy."
He wants, like,
fucking looked at me. And I was like,
get out of
"Oh,
here!"
God."
Does
Yeah, I
he
was
really
like,
want like to have
he
a
was pissed off.
hierarchy?
Yeah, yeah.
Is
He was
serious?
pissed. He's like, "These guys not allowed to fucking talk to me, bro." And I was laughing at that because this guy is the nicest guy in the world that he's talking about. Everybody likes this new
Comics
kid.
get like that, man. I had a lot of comics when I was coming up that had been around before that would give you like advice and like a solid. Yeah, when you get to fucking get 2 years in the business, then tell me what you think's funny, okay,
Right,
kid?
right.
Like, well, meanwhile, dude, you suck.
Yeah,
How about that?
yeah.
How about you're never gonna be funny?
Yeah, that's the thing too. I used to hate. I remember when I started there was these like Frankie Pace was still hanging around. You know,
bitter.
you want to talk about bitter Frankie Pace face, man.
He was angry at everybody. Look at this guy. He's got a fucking deal. He's on TV. What about
Yeah,
me?
you know who's doing that now is Kravitz. He's always
Steve
around.
Kravitz?
Yeah.
I heard he took a long time off and then just
did.
started coming back to comedy
He's
recently.
been coming back, and we were always friendly with each other. I still am friendly with him, but he's just a bitter guy, and that's a real bad thing in comedy. It's
the worst.
Because I've noticed, you know, I seldom shit on other comics because one, I'm not watching them, and two, I don't care. It's like the thing is, it's like the Carlos thing needed to be addressed. People shit on Dane Cook. He's never taken anything from me.
Dane
in my
is
life.
not a bad person.
He's never
Dane,
taken anything from me in my
what
life.
Dane did, he'd made some unfortunate choices, and he's a super ambitious guy, and he's a, you know,
That's what I tell people.
he's a powerful, motivated dude.
It's no
But he's not a
accident
bad
he is
guy.
who he is. It's no like people would be like I'll meet these guys, these young open micers, like screw Dane Cook. I'm like, I was here 10 years ago when that guy was still grinding.
Yeah.
And I have never met a comedian who worked that hard. Do you have to like his comedy? No, I don't like it. But is he a comedian? Yeah, he's a fucking comedian.
The difference between him and Menstelia was so evident. It was a difference.
I'm glad that was pointed out too, because like even like I think when he was on your show, he was like, "Look, I am not him, and I do not deserve to be put in that." He doesn't. He does not deserve to be put into that.
No,
category.
not even remotely, not even close. What happened with Menstelia too was this crazy thing where he would go on in front of guys and do their material.
Yeah.
Do you remember when he did that Loco thing and he went in front of Johnny Sanchez and he did like his closing bit before he brought him up, and he would do that to people all the time. He would just gank shit shit and do it in front of you, and it was like an in your face, look what I just got away with thing. It was like some sort of like badass thing.
Bully shit.
Yeah,
it's a very mindfuck thing. I remember Marin pointed it out. He said, like, tell me about your first comedy experience. I went and bought a book of jokes, he said, and then I went and told.
Well, that Marin thing, that was the most disappointing thing. Is one of the reasons why. I mean, like I said, I don't hate Marin. He's a good guy. He's trying to do the right thing with his life. But he said about this Mencia thing that me and him on stage was two bullies arguing over bullshit. I'm like, man, that's not fair, because I didn't want this to happen, and the only reason it happened in the first place, Get Moron called me up on stage. He actually got on stage, took the microphone, and called me up on stage. Got on stage, took it from a guy who was on stage who I brought up. And so I was like, look, if you want to do this, I'll do this. Like, I'm not scared of you. Like, if you want to call me out in front of a room full of people that I just performed for, and you want to continue this, okay. If you have the microphone, okay. You don't deserve to have the microphone. You're not even supposed to be on stage. But if you want to do that and you've just hijacked the show, I'll go up there and we'll figure out where this goes. And that's what it was to me. If it wasn't for Brian and Brian's editing skills, I mean, that would have never even hit the air. I didn't even know he was in the room when it happened.
You know what's crazy is before that even happened, he knew who I was and hated me because I had earlier made this other Carlos Mencia video that was like not successful at all, but I had made this video, and I remember he walked past me, stopped right next to me, looked at me, and chicken necked me. And that was something like only bullies did in like elementary school, like when you go up to somebody and you like flinch your face right into their face, like woo, like that.
No, he did that?
Yeah, dude, that was like a week before.
He was so crazy. He chest checked me. I was on the way off the stage before he went on stage and took the microphone away from this guy. He stood in front of me and like chest checked me.
I can't believe he
and I was like, bitch, are you crazy? Of course he hasn't. And I was like, I will end your life with my bare hands right here.
He started drinking.
Did he?
Yeah, did you know that?
Are you serious?
He's like 40-something. He just started.
Wow.
I heard this on Marin's podcast.
This is the reason why I can't go back to the store. They supported that guy. They embraced that guy. They set the worst example. He can still go anytime he wants.
Yeah,
they set the worst example ever for the art.
And if there was one club who should be governing of that,
it was a personal thing. It wasn't Mitzi's choice, because I had spoke to Mitzi an hour before it happened.
You were doing that on behalf of all the guys. He wasn't stealing from you. You were doing it on behalf of us.
He wasn't stealing from me because I was so vocal about it. I knew it was coming.
So the thing is,
and he did steal from me a bunch of times on the road. I got calls from guys who opened for him all over the country. I'd get calls from guys who went to see him in Houston. He was doing my bits. Wow. He was doing everybody's shit. Yeah. It wasn't just what you saw on the DVDs. It was every fucking night he performed. He was doing people's shit.
That exposed him that night. I can't believe I was there.
Dude, it had to be done, right? I mean, it had to be done. But that's what pissed me off about what Marin said. It was like, it's two bullies arguing over bullshit. Like, look, man, I might be a loud dude, and I might be aggressive, and I might be, overly aggro, but I'm not a bully.
Yeah, you were championing us.
If you're a nice person, I'm going to be so nice to you.
Yeah.
If you're a nice guy, I'm fucking for sure nice back. But if you're a dickhead to me, I'm going to be a bigger dick back.
Yeah.
And with that guy, it wasn't even a matter of a bullying thing. It was like, we have a fucking criminal in our midst, and it's being supported by all the substructure. It's being supported by all the club managers. It's being supported by the agents who are profiting off this guy, running around stealing people's shit. It's not like one guy, like a Robin Williams, who like occasionally he'll blurt out someone's material. You're talking about a guy who's just straight ganking people.
Right.
It was a totally different sort of a situation. If you weren't there all the time like I was and you were, you wouldn't see how horrible it was.
Yeah.
It was the worst atmosphere for creativity you could ever imagine, where everyone was worried, and we used to have to light the fucking light up when the dude walked into the room. You lit that light.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many times did you light that light?
Yeah, a lot. I knew when he was coming.
He was working the fucking cover booth. Freddie was working the cover booth, and when Mencia would come in, guys would need that light flashed for them to know that guy was in the room.
Know that Mencia was there.
That is so dark.
It's amazing when you can okay that with yourself to steal. It would make comedy really
it's more amazing that the clubs allowed it.
Yeah, I know.
It's not amazing that one person's crazy.
Right.
What's amazing is that these clubs go, we can make money off this crazy person that's fucking...
Not even just the clubs, but it's like it's all of us too. Somebody should have said something more about it.
Yeah.
It took you to say something.
You know what? Everyone says it like, "Hey, you did it. You called him out." It was a total random moment.
Right.
It didn't have to happen.
No,
it wasn't planned out. It was just what he did is he played on my ego. You know, it's like, you doesn't have the balls. Get up here. I don't know if it was suicide by cop. I don't know what it was. It might have been because he had to know that this was going to end ugly.
Right.
What are you going to do? You're going to intimidate me? What are you going to do? Are you going to be wrong?
Yeah.
But he was so confident. This is how I knew he was crazy. When I went on stage, he was so confident. What the fuck have I ever stole? When he was saying that to me, He was so confident. I was like, oh my God, am I crazy?
Yeah.
Did I make all this up?
He's good at it. Like,
am I a hater? Have my whole philosophy on him had been formed by my own jealousy?
Right.
And so then I started naming bits. And then as I was naming bits, I just watched him fall apart. I just
sat
watched
down in the stool.
His eyes were cracked, like glass was shattering in his eyes, and like the lens, he was seeing the sunlight coming in and killing the vampire. And then he sat down on the stool, and then it became ugly. And then it became, the audience turned on him. And then at the end, the crazy thing was, after I got off stage, it was like a half an hour of berating him and, you know, and just exposing what he does and what's wrong with what he does. And you're not an artist. You're a fucking minor bird, and you repeat things that other people say, and you do it and you take credit for their work. You don't even understand what comedy is. You don't even understand the fucking language because you never learned it, because all you do is repeat what other people say. You're a person speaking a language you don't understand, literally. The audience is going crazy. So this asshole's so nuts, he wants to perform after this. He went on. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
He tried to do comedy.
Yeah.
For like 10 minutes.
It was
I actually have lost footage of that where people were going na 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 while he was doing a set, and he kept going, come on.
And then when he walked out, it was like the end of Friday or something. Like Devo just got beat up, and everybody was getting their kicks in too. Like, fuck you, Carlos, up and Mike.
Everybody did. And then when I got the boot, man, he came back around on everybody. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he pulled me.
I can't believe you did that to me, man.
He pulled me and Renazisi aside. He's like, bro. Wow. I was like, what do you want? You know? And then me and Steve asked him honestly. We're like, then tell us about this bit. Tell us about that bit. And just like with Marin, he has.
They should have. The Comedy Store should have. The Comedy Store should have. Comedy Shore.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello, Freud. Hello, Freud.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be after Mitzi dies. Paulie's going to rename it.
Yeah.
What they should have done is they should have stepped in, and even if they wanted to keep me banned because I was filming there and they don't want me filming, that's fine. But you got to make sure you don't have him headline the next weekend, and you don't get on stage and say, "This is my guy. I'm with Carlos," which is what he did. You know what they did was support the worst vampire in the business and let everybody feel helpless and let everybody know that even though you are successful and you do have things going on, you can still get your life fucked with by somebody who's more successful. And you can see that there are people that really do try to sabotage your career if you expose someone for being a piece of shit and a thief, and someone who's a direct opposition of what this art form is supposed to be all about, which is you creating and forming your own shit and bringing it out on stage and people appreciating your work.
Yeah. Did you ever talk after that? You were with Gersh at the time, weren't you?
Yeah. I'm still friends with my agent at the time. I don't even want to mention his name because he's a good guy. He fucked up and he got in a bad situation, and they made him choose. The agency made him choose between Carlos and me. And they only had me for stand-up comedy. They had him for stand-up comedy and television and film. Yeah. And so they were making more money off of him than I was, and they wanted me to either apologize to him or they were going to have to let me go.
Did you guys ever talk again? Did you guys?
I ran into him. We were on a flight once and we sat next to each other. We were flying to.
You and Mencia?
No. My agent.
No, that's what I meant.
No,
Mencia. Have you ever seen that?
I got nothing to say to that dude.
That's a great movie.
He knows. I got nothing to say to him. He knows everything he's going to say to me is not going to be real anyway. It's just going to be noise to try to make everything better, and that's not going to happen. Yeah. So he's going to just come over and try to groom me like the little beta monkey trying to pick little bugs off the alpha. He's going to come over and try to be nice to me, and I'm going to go, come on, man.
Let me groom.
While you're still doing this, I can't talk to you. Good luck with your life.
Funny.
Freddy motherfucking Lockhart, you're a bad dude. You're a kick-ass comedian. You're a cool guy, and I'm glad we finally got you on the podcast.
Dude,
sir.
thanks for having me, man. I fucking appreciate it. Thank you very
Anytime.
much.
More than welcome to come back, man. You were awesome. You were a lot of fun. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Cap City Comedy Club this weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, for me and for Joey Diaz and for Little Esther. And if you want to catch Freddy Lockhart, he will be at the world-famous Comedy Store this weekend, Friday and Saturday night?
Yeah,
around 10 o'clock. You can call, find out what's up, find out who the other lineup is, see if you want to catch yourself some Al Madrigal, see if you want to see some John Caparulo lay it down. There's a lot of good talent there. And that's it. So we will see you. This is the only one we're going to do this week because I got to go to Austin, but I'll be back next Tuesday, and we'll see you guys then, hopefully with Bobby Lee. Bobby, get back to me, you fucking freak. Everybody on Twitter, on Facebook, contact Bobby Lee. Tell that motherfucker to get on the podcast. He's supposed to be doing it soon, and that'll be a lot of fun. Thank you very much. Brian Reichel, redban.com, for running shit in the background and making sure the sound is in order. And as always, thanks to the Fleshlight for sponsoring this podcast.
Fleshlight.com.
Fleshlight.com. And if you go to joerogan.net, there's a link. You can click that and enter in the code Rogan. You get 15% off, bitches. You get your freak on the crazy fake pussy. Ho! Thanks for tuning in. See you next week. Love you, bitches.
Later.